3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Happy Friday, live from the Police Show, not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor of 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to a Friday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all the great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, and as always, streaming on YouTube. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476 is the number to jump on board. And you could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter, at Zach Gelb. That's ZACHGELB. At Augusta, the biggest story right now is the Rory McIlroy roller coaster ride. Yesterday, he got off to such a good start. Through the first 13 holes, he was 4 under. And then on 15, he had a double bogey. And then on 17, he had another double bogey. And he ended up shooting even par for the day. Now, he got things going with that eagle on 13. But even before that, he had a birdie on 2, a birdie on 10, a birdie on 11, and 2 holes ago, he just birdied 15. So now he is walking to the 18th tee to wrap up his day, and Rory McIlroy on the day is 6 under. Overall for the tournament right now, he's 6 under. And Justin Rose, who was your day one leader, who was 7 under par yesterday, well, he was 1 under par today. So Justin Rose sets himself up for a very nice position going into the weekend at 8 under. Right now is the leader. But Rory today has moved 25 spots as he's trying to lock in the career Grand Slam. And he is trying to find a way to finally capture that first ever green jacket. So Rory is the biggest story. I think the biggest star, though, in terms of, who's the most polarizing name to win, what would be the best story for golf to win, I actually think it's Bryson DeChambeau. I think there's not a more entertaining golfer. Like, Scottie Scheffler's unbelievable, but he doesn't have a big personality. And Scottie Scheffler, right now, he is 6 under, and he is early on in his second round, 2 under for today through 6. But if you give me Bryson winning at Augusta after already winning a few major championships in his career, that to me would be the best thing for the sport, and that's who I'm rooting for. So just to give you a few names, Justin Rose, currently your leader through 2, 8 under. Rory McIlroy just wrapping up his second round. He is 6 under. Bryson DeChambeau, 6 under as well. Corey Connors, he is 6 under. Scottie Scheffler is 6 under as well. Some other notable names, Victor Hovland is 5 under. Ludwig Åberg is 4 under. Hideki Matsuyama is 3 under. And Xander Schauffele is 2 under. Patrick Reed, 2 under. Bubba Watson, 1 under as well. Colin Morikawa, 1 under. So we'll kind of draw the line in the sand if you are not 1 under or better. And everyone else will just leave out there to see if they can move up the leaderboard, and then we'll actually end up talking about them. All righty, let's start the show with a little NFL. Gino Torretta is going to join us coming up at the top of the hour. We'll do a little prospect profile with the former Heisman Trophy winning quarterback at Miami, 1992 Heisman Trophy winner. We'll get him to finally touch on the great season that Cam Ward just had this past year for the U. And clearly, Cam Ward is projected to be the number 1 overall pick. I'm going to wave the white flag today. I don't know if this is going to change from now until April 24th, but I am finally stopping the fight of Shedeur Sanders being the 2nd or 3rd overall pick. It is not because of the fact that I don't think it should happen. I will be abundantly clear. I will be crystal clear here. If I'm the Cleveland Browns, I would draft Shedeur Sanders with the 2nd pick. If the Browns take Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter after Cam Ward goes 1, if I'm the New York Football Giants, I would take then Shedeur Sanders with the 3rd overall pick. But I got to follow with what's happening. And even though I don't think Kenny Pickett and today Joe Flacco signing with the Cleveland Browns should take them out of the running for the 2nd overall pick, I do think it's them tipping their hand. And you look at the Giants, I know I could talk about the salaries not being that great, even though Russell Wilson got $20-something million and Jameis Winston's basically getting paid nothing. I don't think signing Russell Wilson, signing Jameis Winston should take you out of taking Shedeur Sanders with the 3rd overall pick, but I think they're tipping their hand as well. And you've had every NFL insider and their mother come out and say it's starting to feel like with the 2nd and 3rd overall pick that we're not going to see Shedeur Sanders go in the first 3 picks of the draft. So as we sit here right now on the 11th day of April in the year of 2025, I wish I had a white flag right now to wave. I really do. But I am waving the flag. And even though I vehemently, and let me be abundantly clear here, I vehemently disagree with the decision. but I do believe that Cam Ward, which I agree with, is going to be the number 1 overall pick. Then the parts that I vehemently disagree against, even though I do believe Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter reverse the order of the 2 best players in the draft, I do think that Travis Hunter is going to go 2 with the Cleveland Browns, and then the Giants are going to take Abdul Carter with the 3rd overall pick. It pains me to say it, and it's nothing against Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter, who once again I think are the 2 best players in this draft. But in this league, you either have a quarterback or you don't. And is Shedeur Sanders, to me, someone that I could guarantee you is going to be a great quarterback in the NFL? Can I ever say that he's going to be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL? No. But when you have to weight that in the quarterback decision and the value of the position, I think he could be a good quarterback. And eventually he'll have to prove to us if he can be great. So if I'm Cleveland, I would take him with the 2nd overall pick. If I'm the Giants, I would take him with the 3rd overall pick. But I can't be a dummy here. I can't let my emotion and what I would do interfere with what I think is going to happen. And I'm looking at this. It's one thing for Cleveland to go trade for Kenny Pickett. That doesn't move the needle for me. You still had that open-ended question of, what's going to go down with Kirk Cousins. But when they signed Joe Flacco today, that's a move to me when you have Joe Flacco, who got you the Browns to the playoffs 2 years ago, and then you were afraid of Deshaun Watson's feelings, so that's why you didn't bring him back last year. But when you go back to the well with Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett, once again, neither moved the needle for me. Neither I would start week 1 at quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. But when you bring in 2 quarterbacks, and every single person in America that's an NFL insider is saying that they don't anticipate the Cleveland Browns taking Shedeur Sanders at 2, I'm not going to sit here on the radio and you ask me, what do you think will happen in the draft? I'm not going to tell you that I think that Shedeur Sanders will go with the 2nd overall pick. And the Giants, they're the real mystifying one to me. And I like Joe Schoen. I got a chance earlier on in the tenure of Joe Schoen's career with the Giants to know him and exchange some messages with him. The last year or so, not as much contact. But if I could talk to Joe Schoen, I would say this. Your job is on the line. You're not only on the hot seat, your seat is on fire. And yes, could you make the case that Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter are the better player than Shedeur Sanders? Absolutely. But if you go 4-12 this year, or 4-13, and Travis Hunter has a good season, is that going to keep your job? Nope. If you go 4-13 and Abdul Carter has 12 sacks this year, is that going to keep your job? Nope. But if you go 4-13, and let's say for the first 8 games, you trotted out Russell Wilson, and then for the rest of the season, you play Shedeur Sanders, and he gives you some hope, could that save your job? Yep. Because this league is all predicated off one position and one position only. It's the quarterback. And the Giants, even if they don't win a lot of games this year, Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, they have to provide the organization with something tangible to have hope on. And just drafting a 2-way stud, which I think Travis Hunter will be, doesn't provide enough hope to keep the GM and the head coach around. Even if Abdul Carter won Defensive Rookie of the Year and had double-digit sacks this upcoming season, does that keep your job? No. If Shedeur Sanders comes in and let's say plays 7 or 8 games and 4 of them are good and then one's really bad and the other 2 are average, does that keep your job? Very well could. Not a guarantee, but it's your best chance. So if I'm Cleveland, if I'm the Giants, I would hitch my wagon to the quarterback because that could provide some hope in a likely situation where I think there's more pressure on the Giants than the Browns, especially nationally with the Saquon Barkley stuff. But I can't sit here, even with Kevin Stefanski, who I think is a good coach and has won 2 Coach of the Year awards, or Andrew Berry, who's been around in Cleveland for a while, when you have Deshaun Watson attached to your resume, and you look at the Giants with Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, I can't sit here and pretend like a Travis Hunter or an Abdul Carter are going to save your job. What could save your job is getting the franchise-altering quarterback. And is there a risk? Yes, absolutely there's a risk. And Shedeur Sanders could turn out to be a bust in the NFL. But right now, what's your best opportunity in keeping your job? Is it trotting out Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett? Is it trotting out Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston? Both of those guys, Barry and Shane, they're not going to last that much longer in the NFL. So if you're going to go down swinging, I would go down swinging maybe with not the best player, but the most important position, and that's a player that plays that position by the name of Shedeur Sanders, where if he just plays good towards the end of the season and gives you a small sample size and a small sliver of hope, that could save your job, even when we both look at these rosters and anticipate the Giants and the Browns not having many wins for this upcoming year. But I can't believe we're living in a world where having Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco on your roster elicits the feeling of me that the Browns now aren't taking Shedeur Sanders with the second overall pick. Or having Russell Wilson in the year of 2025 and Jameis Winston in the year of 2025 now elicits the feeling from me that the Giants aren't taking Shedeur Sanders with the third overall pick. Now, what has been floated out there, and if you really want to impress me, Andrew Berry, if you really want to impress me, Joe Shane, because I have not wavered off this, Shedeur Sanders is a top 2 quarterback in this draft class, right? At times I thought Shedeur was 1. Now I think Cam Ward is 1, and I think Shedeur is 2. That's where I've wavered off of. If the Giants or, let's say, the Browns end up taking a Jalen Milroe or a Jackson Dart or a Tyler Shuck or whoever these other quarterbacks are, Dylan Gabriel, any of these guys, I'm not taking the bait. That's not going to impress me. That's not going to make me say, wow, okay, you got Travis Hunter and Shuck, or you got Travis Hunter and Gabriel, or you got Travis Hunter and Dart, or you got Travis Hunter and Milroe. That doesn't excite me. And same could be said for Abdul Carter. If you got Abdul Carter and Shuck, or Abdul Carter and Milroe, Abdul Carter and Dart, Abdul Carter and Gabriel, that doesn't impress me. But if Joe Shane or Andrew Berry could get Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter 2 and 3, and then let's say Stu's Raiders pass up on Shedeur Sanders, and Kellen Moore then says, you know what? We're not really feeling a quarterback this year. We don't want to take a quarterback the first year with me being the head coach. And let's say you see Shedeur fall out of the top 10. If you could find a way, giving up future draft capital to then trade up to get Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders, or Abdul Carter and Shedeur Sanders, then I will say, okay, Joe Shane, you won me over there in this draft. Or, okay, Andrew Berry, you won me over in this draft. But passing up on Shedeur Sanders, even though I think you're taking a better player in Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, that doesn't do enough for me because the quarterback position is so valuable, and I think it's clear that Shedeur Sanders is now the second best quarterback in this draft class. So don't settle on these second-tier guys. The top-tier quarterbacks in this draft class, there's only 2 of them. It's Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. So if you're going to pass on Shedeur at 2 and 3, it's a roll of the dice. Maybe you're able to go move up in the draft, come back in the first round, the Giants or the Browns, and get Shedeur Sanders. But if you're then going to settle on one of these second or third tier guys and you're going to roll in with Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett or Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston, well, Joe Shane, be prepared to sell your house. Andrew Berry, be prepared to sell your house. All right? Because you're not going to keep your job by just drafting Travis Hunter or just drafting Abdul Carter. So I'm waving the white flag today. In my latest mock draft, I would say top 5 picks, this is how it would go. Number 1, Cam Ward to Tennessee. Number 2, I'm going to say Travis Hunter to the Cleveland Browns. Number 3, Abdul Carter to the New York Giants. Number 4, the Patriots take Will Campbell out of LSU, and then I become a fan of short arms. And then number 5, Mason Graham to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Those are my latest top 5 picks in the NFL draft, which we are now less than 2 weeks away, April 24th. So 2 Thursdays from now is when the NFL draft will get underway. All righty, we'll take a time out. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Nico Iamaleava, maybe my favorite name to pronounce right now in pro sports. Well, he's in a messy NIL negotiation. What does this mean for good old Rocky Top? We'll tell you when we come on back in 5 minutes.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
So if you recall last year, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We had Eli Manning on Radio Row, so 2 Radio Rows ago. And when it came out that Quinn Ewers was coming back to Texas, I said, okay, there's a second transfer portal window, Eli. Do you think your nephew and Arch Manning is going to enter the transfer portal? And he said no. He goes, I would not advise him to do so. We picked Texas for a reason. So that second transfer portal window usually doesn't get a lot of news because the first transfer portal window, which is still during the college football playoff, as we found out this year, is when a lot of the big names jump in and then they pick their next school for the future. Well, Nico Iamaleava, who is the starting quarterback at Tennessee, had a lot of high expectations last year. If we're being honest, he was inconsistent last year. He wasn't bad. There were moments where he looked like a freshman, but he started off the season really strong, and then it was a lot of up and down play the rest of the way. Now, I still walk away from the season that Nico Iamaleava had at Tennessee, and I would say it was more positive than negative, but I'm really curious to see if he could take that next step and be a shining star and really pop off and elevate his game in his second season as a starting quarterback. So, I didn't even think about Nico Iamaleava, right, entering the transfer portal with this second window opening up on April 16th to April 25th, because let's be real, that's really the forgotten transfer portal window. So spring ball has started up clearly with Tennessee, and today Nico Iamaleava was not there for practice. And it has come out that Nico Iamaleava and his representation is holding out, I guess, as they're negotiating what they hope is a new NIL deal. So the big date to circle here is April 26th and then also April 25th, because if Nico Iamaleava doesn't get what he wants on April 16th, and then he could go into the portal and open up his services and you could start the bidding war, and then all this stuff has to get wrapped up by April 25th when the portal does close. So if he doesn't go in the portal by April 25th, then it's not happening. But I would say this because I'm imagining there's going to be a lot of blowback directed towards Nico Iamaleava. Because you look at the play last year, it's easy for you to say, okay, what leverage do you have? Like, okay, you made a deal, even though there's a lot of ambiguity with that deal, and college football and all of college sports right now with NIL is the wild, wild west. It's like, honor that commitment, right? I'm sure that's going to be a take that's out there. You know, come on, what leg do you have to stand on, Nico? You were an above-average quarterback last year. You have a deal. Stop with this nonsense. But on the contrary, I actually think he has a lot of leverage. Because think about this, and this could be the world that we now live in, where really these deals are now semester to semester. You have this second portal. Now, does Tennessee have other quarterbacks on the roster? I'm not going to be pretended to be well-versed on the 2 deep and the 3 deep of the Tennessee roster, but you know how recruiting works. So can Tennessee have someone else that is able to step in and start next year? Sure. Are they going to have the expectation and the buzz that Nico Iamaleava has? No. And that's why I think Nico has leverage, because if Nico jumps into this portal on April 16th and he turns his head and doesn't look back at the Tennessee program and he bolts to, wherever else he goes and takes the cash wherever that is, then what is Tennessee going to do? And that's where Nico Iamaleava, in kind of a rotten way, and that's coming from someone who's pro-transfer portal and is pro-NIL, that's where Nico Iamaleava has an enormous amount of advantage. So I was reading this via On3 Sports. Chris Lowe of ESPN had this report. Nico Iamaleava's reps wanted to see his NIL deal up to the $4 million range before the winter portal closed. That's what Chris Lowe of ESPN is reporting. And then he also added, Tennessee officials said they weren't going to blink. So this is a standoff now. And this is the first highly publicized holdout that I could remember in the college game. And I know this NIL stuff is new. And, right, if this happened in December, right, that someone enters the portal and they go somewhere else, it's kind of regular nature. Right? Sometimes there's moves that are made, but you see a guy go in the portal, you're like, oh, I didn't expect that. But it goes down in December, it goes down in January, and then that's over with, right? That's what we become accustomed to in free agency. But now there's 2 free agencies pretty much, and it's almost like a second-guessing free agency that you do have the power here. If you are someone like Nico Iamaleava and you go, oh, I still think I should get more money. All right, I'll go jump into the spring transfer portal window that opens up in April. I'm not going to show up to spring practice right now, and you don't give me what I want, I'll leave. And even though Nico Iamaleava did not have a great season last year, there will be interest elsewhere because people are interested off of potential, and there's a lot of potential with Nico Iamaleava. So is Tennessee, this is a decision Tennessee has to have. Are they going to cave, and will they give him the $4 million range? If that's the strict number and there's no flexibility on Nico Iamaleava's camp, let's play with that, then that's what they're going to have to do. Or will they stick to their guns here and say, we're not doing this. We're going to put our foot down, and is Josh Heupel and company fine with losing Nico Iamaleava, and now there being a lot of uncertainty at their quarterback position? Without knowing, right, all the dynamics here at play, without knowing the depth chart and how people are viewed and rated and all that stuff, I'm going to assume that the money wins out here. I'm going to assume that the player wins out here. And there's going to be some booster, someone with the collective, some donor that, and I'm assuming, like what? I read somewhere that Nico is, because we never know what's actually true with this stuff. You see some numbers thrown out there, and I have talked to people that work in college football programs, and they go, yeah, that number that's being reported is absolutely ridiculous that this player doesn't make that. So I saw one number that was like $2.5 million Nico is making this year. So if that's true that it's $2.5 million, to find another $1.5 million, is there some rich booster with the Tennessee program that'll be like, yeah, we'll solve this problem? Sure. I think that's going to eventually happen. But I'll tell you this. Doing this in the spring window and now making this so highly publicized, it increases the pressure and the attention on Nico Iamaleava. And you better not have a stinker of a season this year. Because if you don't improve and you continue to be an inconsistent quarterback, and you show some flashes of being really damn good, and then other times you look completely lost, a lot of people are going to be saying, ooh, that juice wasn't worth the squeeze with Nico Iamaleava. I still don't think there's a player in college football this year that I'm more intrigued by than Arch Manning, right? Just with the buildup from high school, even the last 2 years sitting in college at Texas, and right, who his uncles are, and right, the last name Manning, and there's such a big buildup with Arch Manning. And now, unless he gets hurt, he's going to be the starting quarterback for the entirety of the season. So there's no player to me in college football that I'm more intrigued by than Arch Manning. But after that, the only other one I could think of is I'm really curious to see what DJ Lagway does at Florida, especially with a big reason why many thought Billy Napier, the AD at Florida, came out and said, oh, we're going to keep him before the end of the season, was because they feared they were going to lose DJ Lagway. So there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of intrigue on what DJ Lagway is going to do. But after that, I think Nico Iamaleava is right up there as one of the players that are under the most pressure this year in college football. And it's weird because up until today, I don't want to say he was forgotten about, but he wasn't in the headlines. Right? People look back at his season, had a fine first season, made the college football playoff. I saw a list yesterday that On3 put out there. They didn't even have him as a top 10 quarterback in college football entering this season. So I can't say he was really in the news. Now, not only is he in the news, he's plastered all over the news. And now the big question remains, is he going to stay at Tennessee or is he going to go? And he has, intentionally or not, put a lot more pressure on him entering this season. So I'm very curious to see what Arch Manning does this year. I'm very curious to see what DJ Lagway does this year. And I'm very curious to see what Nico Iamaleava does this year as well. And I think those are three of the more intriguing players in college football entering this season. I'll also tell you, the South Carolina quarterback, Lenore Sellers, I'm also really intrigued what he could do as well, because he has some video game moments, and I like the way that South Carolina with Shane Beamer ended the season, so I'm very intrigued with him as well. But quarterbacks, that's what's intriguing. And we just went through it, right? You talk about the quarterback at Texas, you talk about the quarterback at Florida, Tennessee, and then South Carolina. So those are some players that really stand out to me heading into this college football season. All righty, we will take a timeout. If you want to jump on board, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. You can always follow the show on social media at Zach Gelb on Twitter and Instagram. Gino Torretta, the 1992 Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, he's going to join us coming up in 28 minutes from now, to be exact, as we'll do a little prospect profile with him. We'll get his thoughts on Cam Ward, who is projected to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft. But when we come on back, it's tradition unlike any other. It's the Masters. It's the second day at the Masters, and we have a very compelling leaderboard right now. So we'll give you a full Masters update when we come on back. And there was a very compelling situation yesterday at the Masters. That is a very guy-talky kind of conversation. So we'll get more into that when we return, and we'll tell you everything that's happening at Augusta. But first up with the latest sports flash, here's the Act Man, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Well, Justin Rose is still the leader after 2 rounds, or at least his second round is in the books, and he's at 8 under par, but a lot of others are chasing. Among them, Bryson DeChambeau, who just sunk a par putt on 18 to end his round. 4 under for today, 7 under for the tournament, and perhaps the best round of the day so far belongs to Rory McIlroy, a 6 under 66. So after the big meltdown on the final 4 holes yesterday, McIlroy right in the thick of it at 6 under par. Also Shane Lowry, Corey Connors, and Matt McCarty, the Masters rookie, another shot back at 5 under par, along with defending champ Scotty Scheffler, who's 1 under through 7 so far today. Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava is seeking a new NIL deal and reportedly a no-show for spring practice today. 40-year-old Joe Flacco returning for another season and returning to Cleveland. The 2023 Comeback Player of the Year signed a 1-year deal with the Browns, and Jalen Petre's strong season gets him a 3-year extension with the Texans with $30 million guaranteed. I'm Rich Ackerman.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on X. Our handle is INF Sports Network. That's INF Sports Network on X.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, it's time to Ask the Pros, where you, the listener, get to ask us a question brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at INFSportsNet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag #AskThePros. Be listening later in the show. We might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. So, this is not good for the Masters. You have the first day and a half of the tournament. And you have a national show like this where we're looking for storylines. And I think the biggest storyline right now is a guy by the name of Jose Luis Ballester. And some people may be like, who? Yeah, I didn't know who he was either before this morning when I was reading about him. He's an amateur golfer. He showed up to Augusta and snobby, rich tradition, let's be real. The crowd at the Masters could be a little pretentious, okay? It's not your everyday man kind of event. And he showed up with the hat that said Sun Devils, but it was upside down, right? So that annoyed some of the golf purists. Who's this young whippersnapper, blah, blah, blah. He's disrespectful. All right. Am I going to crush him for doing that? I'm not. But the big debate here, where I am going to stand up for this guy, is he's golfing. He had to take a tinkle, right? Had to take a little number one. And he went in Rays Creek at the Masters. So everyone's freaking out. How disrespectful is this guy? He takes a leak, into the creek. Ooh, I'm a poet. I didn't even know it. But I can't crush this guy for doing this. Because here's why. When I go play Wind Watch, right, in a few Saturdays from now on Long Island when the weather gets better, I was supposed to golf this weekend, but the weather's crappy here this weekend. And let's say I'm 10, 11 holes in, right? Had a few beers, had a few drinks, maybe ate a little bit of lunch, and I'm golfing, and I go, oh, the bladder's full. I got to go take a leak. There's a restroom at the turn, right, where I play. So if you don't go at the turn to the restroom, you got to drive all the way to the clubhouse. So what does most people do? They go into the woods. They drop down their pants, right? And they take a little tinkle. So they end up doing. That's a very common guy thing in golf. Now, I understand this is the Masters. It's a rich tradition, unlike any other, blah, 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 blah. And it's a public setting. But are people really teeing off on this guy for taking a number one at Rays Creek? Now, he's a dummy because of this. This is where he's stupid. He did say that he forgot that there was like a bathroom, and I guess it was right around the corner. I completely forgot that we had those restrooms on the left of the tee box, Ballester told reporters. But do we now need to crucify this guy for doing something that if you're a guy and you listen to this show and you golf, we've all done it? All right? Every single guy that has golfed has veered off to like the left or the right when there's woods on a golf course and you're on the 11th or 12th hole and you're playing with your buddies and you're like, I got to go to the bathroom. And you have gone to the bathroom. Samter is shaking his head. Now, you're an Arizona State guy, so I thought you would be supporting this guy like you would if it was Sam Levitt or Cam Scatterbo. But you're sitting here and you're shaking your head during the entirety of this. What's the big deal with Jose Luis Ballester going and taking a leak on a golf course, which every guy has done? And if they say they haven't, then they're lying to you.
He makes the Sun Devils look bad. It's just disappointing to me. I don't mind the hat. Don't care about the hat. Go
to their campus. You'll have enough people make them look bad, if we're being honest.
Have you been to the campus?
Yeah, it's like it's a frat row pretty much.
There's some beautiful, beautiful people on that campus. It looks very, very good.
Yeah, sure. But let's be real. If you're looking for human decency, Arizona State's one of the great party schools in this country. You go to that campus, you're going to see some stupid stuff.
Oh, sure is. But stupid stuff on campus and stupid stuff at Augusta.
When you say that.
It's a little bit different. Stupid stuff at Augusta. Listen.
You're a snob. Sam to the snob.
It's not just about being a snob. There's certain decorum. Like if Draymond Green walked off the court and in the tunnel, just peed in the tunnel, that's not okay either.
You're outside. You're on a golf course. You can't
if he
compare that. That's not
can,
apples to apples
it's
there.
Not okay. Cover up. You're around people. There's people around. I don't know if there were kids around who saw that, right? You in reality, all jokes aside, you could get arrested.
Okay.
Indecent
kids,
exposure for doing that.
You can't have a cell phone at Augusta. You're not allowed to make a peep at Augusta. What kids are going to Augusta? Whenever they show Augusta, you don't ever see a kid in the crowd.
There's
you see some
75-year-old
guy with his 35-year-old son or something like that. The guy went to the creek, went off into the corner, lowered his pants, and took a number one. Every single guy in America, any regular guy in America that plays golf has done it. And have you played golf ever?
Of course. I used to live right off a golf course.
Okay. So when you're on the 14th hole after having 15 Michelob Ultras and Michael Samter's my bladder's full, I got to go to the bathroom, you going to the restroom or you just going into the woods to take a number one?
A, I'm going into the woods. B,
100%,
I'm not a
so you're a
professional golfer.
hypocrite.
C, there's not toilets and bathrooms everywhere that you could go to.
You think this is the first time that a pro golfer has done this? Absolutely not.
In plain view, while people can see, absolutely. We've never seen this before where a golfer, he said that he was getting applause. People were watching him and clapping.
Yeah, good for him.
That's weird. You're at the Masters, which is sacred ground to begin with. You're peeing in Ray's Creek.
Sacred ground.
Go into the woods and pee on a tree. Don't go pee in Ray's Creek in front of spectators at the Masters. Right? To do it in front of spectators, wrong. To do it at Augusta, wrong.
You were offended
to do it
by
at the
this.
Masters, wrong. To do it at Ray's Creek, wrong. There's so many wrong things about it. You can't even count it on one hand how wrong it was.
Oh, my God. Terrible. Lock him up. Throw away the key. Oh, my. Well,
this guy needs to transfer to U of A. Go to Arizona.
How sensitive have we become in this society that you go on a golf course any weekend in this country, you have 900,000 people taking a number one in the woods. This guy does it at the Masters, and it's a criminal act now. Oh, terrible. Oh, insufferable. Oh, come on. Give me a break. Stupid. Really is stupid. Anyway, it is a Zach Gelb show on the Infinity Sports Network. This is the biggest draw at the Masters right now. This guy taking a number one, Jose Luis Ballester, is the biggest storyline that I've seen nationally from Augusta. Come on. The idea that it's just ridiculous that this guy took a number one. Give me a break. All righty, let's go to Jay in Nashville. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Jay wants to chime in on this urination situation. Jay, go ahead.
Why did that rhyme? Urination situation. I mean, it's not a situation. Thing about it, it's going to be a legendary moment. It's going to be a meme. And then on top of that, I was telling you, Screener, I'm from Arizona. I've been on ASU campus. Ain't no decency on that campus, especially on the weekends.
Thank you.
Especially been down Mill Ave and stuff like that. Believe me,
I've seen those Arizona State students. I've seen those Arizona State students at the Waste Management. They were deplorable with their decorum that they displayed at the Waste Management.
Oh my God! I've been to a frat party at ASU campus. I'll never get it, man. This girl kept on talking, and my homeboy, she kept on saying she was talking junk to everybody. My homeboy just grabbed her head and farted on her head, like right up to her butt. Everybody stopped partying, laughed, and it just the party went on. I mean, it's just crazy stuff like that. She deserved it, though. It sounds crazy, but she deserved it. But I was only like 19 when this happened.
Let me tell you, Jay. I did not think I would have these words uttered on my show today. Someone farted on her head. Is that what you said?
She kept talking. She was drunk, talking junk. He just grabbed her head and just put it up to his butt and just I mean, crazy stuff like that. I mean, she deserved it, bro. I ain't gonna lie, she deserved it because everybody's looking at her like, "Hey, who are you talking to?" You know what I mean? It is a bunch of big football players like in here. You know what I mean? But yeah. I mean, it wasn't no like SA situation or anything like that. She just kept on talking.
Okay, gotcha. Appreciate the phone call, Jay. I'm a little uncomfortable with that conversation. I don't know where that was going when you're talking about farting on someone's head. SA situation.
Sexual assault.
Oh, okay. I don't think.
No, that's just a guy farting.
Wasn't any of one of those. Okay,
yeah, no,
gotcha.
no. That's.
Yeah, I don't know. Whenever we're talking about something like that and grabbing somebody, that's a little uncomfortable right there in the fun that we try to have on this show. Let's go to Rob in Connecticut. Rob, go ahead.
I can't. I'm laughing, Zach. You already know, bro. That's awesome. Anyways, the creek is no longer Rage Creek. It is now Jose's Creek.
I'm fine with it. It's a little splash zone. I got no problem with what he did. Santa's sitting there. Oh, the travesty. Oh, it's despicable. Oh, it's the Masters. Stop. It's a snobby event. Come on. The guy took a leak.
All I know is that, hey, every time I listen to you guys, you're always talking about food. You always make me hungry. You had me at, what was it? The Georgia Peach ice cream sandwich. That sounded delicious, kid.
At the Masters. Sounds delicious. I think it's like $3.50 as well.
Anyways, I caught you on the Bart Winkler show the other night. As a matter of fact, I was a couple calls behind you.
Oh, I went to sleep after I called, so I didn't hear you.
Oh, you missed it.
Yeah, but I just missed you. But yeah, I always enjoy impromptu calling the Bart Winkler show when he least expected.
Jose's Creek.
Yeah.
That's no longer Ray's Creek.
Jose's Creek where he takes a leak. Got no problem with it. Thanks, Rob in Connecticut, for making the call. All righty. Real quickly, since Jose Luis Ballester can't be the main story of the Masters, who are you rooting for to win? I'm going to say Bryson DeChambeau. I think golf needs a little personality. Golf needs a little flavor. The roller coaster ride of Bryson, I used to hate him. He won me a lot of money when he won his first major back in 2020 at the U.S. Open. I was betting him, like Morikawa, guys that were just coming on the scene there during COVID. So I was good with him in 2020, but then he had that whole incident with Brooks Koepka, and I did not think that make him look very well, but he's embracing the YouTube and all that stuff. Sounds very old, the YouTube. But he's been embracing more personality in golf. And I know he won the U.S. Open in 2024. It was a feel-good story. I would like to I'd like to see him win a snobby event like the Masters that probably repulsed that a guy like Bryson DeChambeau won with the personality that he has. So I'm rooting for Bryson DeChambeau to win this Masters. And since I'm a degenerate when it comes to betting Patrick Cantlay, I subbed out Bryson DeChambeau my 3 bets for Patrick Cantlay, and now Bryson DeChambeau is 7 under, a 69 in round 1 and a 68 in round 2. He's 1 shot off the lead, as Justin Rose is 8 under, shot a 65 to open things up, and then a 71 today. Samter, who would you like to see win?
There's only one person that anyone really cares about at this point, and it's Rory McIlroy. Guy hasn't won a major since 2014. He's never won the Masters.
Yeah.
So
this would be the career Grand Slam for him.
Yeah, career Grand Slam. This would be huge. And I mean, Rory is likable. Whether you like or don't like DeChambeau, he's controversial. Rory is likable. He stood up for the PGA against Liv.
But then as Hickey would say, he became a cuck for the PGA.
Yeah,
he really did.
Sure.
And I was with him, and then it was too much. It really was. The PGA took advantage of it and ended up looking like a fool. Stu, who would you like to see win?
Give me Scotty Scheffler. Let's get the first repeat since Tiger did it in 01-02. I think that would be a kind of a cool storyline on Monday.
And Scotty right now is 6 under for the tournament. He is through 8. He's 2 under today. He's currently tied for 3rd. And Rory McIlroy, who had the disastrous end yesterday after double bogeying 15 and 17, he was sensational today, as he was 6 under today, and he's 6 under for the tournament. Had that big eagle, nice shot out of the pines on 13, had a big eagle opportunity and actually cashed through on it as he got a 3 on a par 5. And once again, he is 6 under for the tournament. All righty, I got to go take a leak. I won't do so in the creek, but we'll be back in 5 minutes with Gino Torretta, who's going to join us. Prospect profile time, as we will highlight Cam Ward.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The Combine is over and the 2025 NFL Draft is almost upon us.
With the first pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams. The Carolina Panthers select Bryce Young. The Jacksonville Jaguars select Trevor Lawrence. The Cincinnati Bengals select Joe Burrow.
Let's find out whose stock is falling and whose stock is rising.
Jackpot, baby!
And now it's time for the Zach Gelb Show to give you an inside look at some of the biggest draft prospects in this edition of Prospect Profile.
Alrighty, Prospect Profile time on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network, and we're going to start with the guy that's expected to go number one in the NFL Draft, and that's the former Miami quarterback in Cam Ward, projected to get selected by the Tennessee Titans. So let's go out to the guest line right now. Welcome in the 1992 Heisman Trophy winner from Miami, and that, of course, is Gino Torretta here with us on the Zach Gelb Show. Gino, appreciate the time. How you been?
I'm doing great, Zach. How are you?
Well, I'm fantastic. So we know what Cam did last year at Miami, the 44 total touchdowns, finished fourth in the Heisman, and threw for over 4,300 yards. But you being a legendary Miami quarterback, how do you look back at the year that Cam had for your school?
Well, I think he had the best single season of any of us in the history of the school. I mean, yardage-wise, touchdowns was just spectacular. I go back to I think the first time I saw him when he decided to come to Miami in January or February before the draft, and when I watched him throw, and I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, what were the NFL scouts thinking? Because the first thing I saw was elite arm velocity, tight spirals, elite arm placement wise, accuracy. And I just kind of shook my head. I'm like, okay, their mistake is our gain. And I think Zach, it was probably one of those situations where he put up great stats at Washington State. He's really put up great stats wherever he's been. I don't think enough people saw him actually throw the ball in person. And, it just kind of the NFL scouting process, it is what it is. But their loss for a season was our gain. And I think that he just continued to get better. He operated in Miami's offense was outstanding. We ran, a similar system than he had run at Washington State. So just a little disappointing end that the team couldn't get in the playoff, but Cam had a great season.
It's fascinating the way that you talk about his NFL projection, because I'm a believer in Cam Ward, but a lot of people are knocking down this quarterback draft class and even saying if he was in it last year, he probably would have been maybe the fourth or fifth best quarterback in the draft class. What do you think Cam Ward could be in the NFL as a pro quarterback?
Well, I think he has all the physical skills. I think that, the guys that become elite in the NFL also have 10 other darn good football players around them. They have a, good line, some, weapons on the outside. I think his mental processing is high. So I think the sky's the limit for him. I just think that, listen, the team that has the first pick for a reason. It usually isn't for positive ones based on success rates. So I think Tennessee's got a lot of holes, but Cam will be one where they'll fill that hole rather quickly. I just hope, for his sake and for all the quarterbacks, it's you want him to have talent around him to be able to show off those skills.
And you look last year at the first three quarterbacks that did go. Caleb Williams walked into a lot of talent, but poor coaching and didn't have a good year. Jaden Daniels carried the Commanders. And then Drake May did more with really less around him. So Cam Ward walking into a locker room right away with his leadership skills and what we saw what he did in multiple stops in college, what's the immediate impact that he could do maybe on a day one or in his first season?
Well, I think that was one thing, Mario Cristobal always talked about. He's alpha, when he came in and obviously tried to, become the leader of the team, took his, linemen out to dinners and things like that. So I think he's already done that. He's already had to do it. I mean, the kids are having to do it in free agency in college football, a lot earlier than we used to when that didn't happen once you were in the pros. So I think that he's been on a few different squads. He's obviously led different people, and he's become, the leader when he was there. And I really think that he's pretty quiet on the field. He's quiet, he's not a yeller, but I know he talks because I'm close enough to where, I watch him practice and I'm like, he's talking smack to the defensive guys and I think that he's always challenging his teammates to be the best they can. And I think that, when you get to the National Football League, I think that's what you want. You want a guy that's always going to challenge anybody around him to get better. And, I think there's no question he has all the ability. But like I said, quarterback position is, you need 10 other guys doing their job, so you can do your job good.
Gino Torretta here with us, the 1992 Heisman Trophy winner from the U. I also love his story. I know we touched on it a little bit, but I got a chance to talk to him when he was at Washington State. He's a zero-star recruit, incarnate word. Then we saw what he did at Washington State, and then this year really got the national buzz. But he's always had the confidence in himself. I remember talking to him when he was out on the West Coast, and he said he believes he could be a Heisman Trophy winner, and he believes he could be one of the best players in college football.
Well, I don't think there's any question. I think that when you run a offense in high school that, I don't know, maybe antiquated. I'm not sure how you run a wing tee because I've never had to run a wing tee, but I know that generally is more in the lines of Johnny Latner or Notre Dame in the 50s and things like that. And, he was confident then. And I would say this, after watching him throw literally the first time, somebody's wrong, and they've been wrong about this kid for 5 years. And that's where I just, if you see somebody throw, like, don't let your eyes don't deceive you when you see somebody has elite arm strength. And I think that, for whatever reason, he's been made to prove it, and he's had no problem going out there and proving it. I mean, his mom was his basketball coach growing up. You know what I mean? Is all of those stories that we hear about guys in the past. Oh, his dad has coached him through the course of his career. His mom's coached him, is just on the basketball court. And I think that, he has developed and he's gotten better. And it seems like, at least when he's even working out with Shedeur and those guys in their preseason and the last offseason, man, he is not slacking at all. I mean, he's always challenging the guys with him, like, why are we taking a water break here? This is ridiculous. Let's go. Let's keep working harder. And I think that'll serve him well as he gets to the NFL.
And when I got a chance to be around him when he was a Heisman Trophy finalist here in the city, he's a lot bigger, I think, in person than what they have him listed. I know he's not as big as Ben Roethlisberger, but I kind of see a little Big Ben in the game of Cam Ward. How about yourself? Is there a pro quarterback that you've seen before that kind of reminds you of Cam Ward?
Well, he's definitely thick. I would say this, that the ball coming off reminds me a lot of Michael Vick. You know what I mean? I think that when you watch Vic throw, it was like, wow, this ball is coming out, and it's coming out tight spiral and exactly where he wanted to. Maybe when I played, I had a chance to play with Warren Moon, where that dude never threw a bad ball. There wasn't. I mean, if that ball didn't perfectly spiral when Warren threw it, he would ask the equipment guy to see it and guarantee the laces were bad or something was bad with that ball, because he never threw a bad ball. And I would say that, those are some pretty good comparisons for Cam, because his ball comes out like those guys. It's just tight. It's got a ton of revolutions on it, which it'll get through the wind, when you get in those tough weather conditions in the NFL, and it has the velocity.
Gino Torretta here with us. I want to get your thoughts on Shedeur Sanders, because a month ago, or even a week ago, I thought he was going to go 2 or 3. Now you have Adam Schefter saying he could go at 9, maybe even as far as 21 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. When you see Shedeur, how do you think his game projects to the next level?
Well, I think, again, he's very talented. Sky's the limit. Probably more of, pocket passer, but he didn't have the skill around him that let's say Cam did, last season. I broadcasted his Nebraska game, where I don't know how many times he got hit, 25 times. He probably got sacked 10, and it was all he could do to stay upright and get rid of the ball. So I think he's got the size, he's got the toughness. I mean, I hear a lot of smoke. Listen, this is the time of smoke. There's teams that like Shedeur. There's no question. You know that, and I know that. And I think it's just a matter of, can they throw out enough smoke to basically get him maybe a little bit on sale to wherever they want to pick, or wherever they move up to. But physically, he's got the ability. When people say confidence, oh, he's too confident. Listen, I've never met a quarterback that's never been too confident. I mean, you have to be confident, and I think that he has that. He's had the spotlight on him, God, since he was a kid, probably in high school, being Deion's kid and the quarterback. So I would say that I think he'll do well. Again, it sometimes is better not to get picked one, because the teams that go down are better. There's less holes that those teams have to fill, and maybe you come into the right situation and you become a starter, and you become a team where you're the missing piece to take them over the top. So it's not all bad. Maybe in the first paycheck, but you hit free agency, and I think they can more than make up for it by then.
And let me be clear too. I think the 2 best players in this draft are Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. But you either have a quarterback or you don't in the NFL, and sometimes you may not be the best player in the draft, but you need a quarterback, so you take one. I just don't understand, if I was a Browns fan or a Giant fan, and let's say Cam Ward does go 1, how you pass on Shedeur Sanders and then justify that when you need a quarterback.
Well, I would agree. Listen, I'd take Travis. I mean, I take Cam because, like you said, the quarterback position is more impactful on a team, and Tennessee needs a quarterback. To me, I'd take Travis Hunter. I don't care who's picking number 2. I don't even know who's picking number 2, but I would take Travis Hunter.
Cleveland,
I mean, the kid is just a dog. I mean, he's tall, he's skinny. But man, he has no problem, never shies away contact. And like I said, I broadcast that Nebraska game, and we met him at the Heisman this year, and I just said something. I go, Travis, man, you don't back down from contact, and he's got a slight frame. He's like, bro, that's the dog in me, and it is, and like what Warren Sapp's, one of my old teammates, said it was just a privilege to watch him practice every day. He is a physical corner. He's got the body control, of the best receivers that we've ever seen. The question is going to be, how many plays are they going to let him play on both sides? Because he can play both sides. It's just how many plays is wherever he goes, let him play. So I'd pick Travis number 2 just because of all of that, and he's a hell of a kid.
Would you pick him 1 over Cam if you were Tennessee?
Not if I needed a quarterback.
Okay.
based on Tennessee's probably history, I think they must feel that Levis isn't the answer. I think he was only picked a couple of years ago, so I need QB. I'm taking Cam Ward, and from what I hear, everybody in Tennessee is basically kind of settled on that, and I'm sure they're working with Cam's agent to probably negotiate the contract right now before the pick's even made, so there's no holdout days.
Gino Torretta here with us, the 1992 Heisman Trophy winner. I want to get your thoughts on a few other Miami players. I was a big fan of Ladd McConkey out of Georgia, and he fell to the second round. Xavier Restrepo, we haven't really heard a lot about him in this draft process, but what a career, obviously a record-breaking career he had at your school.
Yeah, an absolute stud. Listen, he's been doing it since Pop Warner down here. You just can't get him to the ground. Go ask Cam. He always found the open slot. He would always, find that open area. I can't remember the guy's name that the Dolphins cut, went up to the Jets, and they called him 7-Eleven Hovind.
Oh, Chris Hogan.
Hogan. I mean, basically, that's the way I look at Restrepo. And I guess he was tight, ran a bad 40 during pro day, so I'm sure they'll knock him there. But there's no question the kid, he is just tough. He's one of the hardest working players, if not the hardest working guy out there. Every time I would go out and watch practice, he was the guy running extra routes. It wasn't the young freshman. He was the one doing all the extra work when he probably didn't need to, but he puts in the work. He's hungry, and he needs to get that opportunity because I know this. He's the guy that he'll know the offense that he's in. He'll find the lanes. He'll be the quarterback's best friend, and he makes all the grabs in tough situations right before contact. So big fan of Xavier.
It's kind of funny when you parachute into the Miami program all year. What we heard was Cam Ward, Xavier Restrepo, and then we also heard just about obviously how bad the defense was. Elijah Arroyo, though, the tight end, is making some noise here leading up to this draft. What can you tell people about him that maybe aren't familiar with him?
Absolute stud. I would say, if I recall correctly, it was the Virginia Tech game, which they ended up winning on a missed Hail Mary by Virginia Tech. But really what saved the game, and I'm sure it's on YouTube, Cam threw a pick going into the end zone, and Arroyo ran, I think, 91 yards from the left side of the field to the opposite end of the field and tackled the interceptor of the ball inside the 10, and our actually defense stopped Virginia Tech from scoring a touchdown. And it just, the hunger, the speed, he seems to have gotten better and better at the entire season. But I agree. He's one of those guys where it's like, oh, that guy plays in Miami. Oh, that guy's pretty good. And then it's like you watch him, you're like, wow, I'm only watching that guy. He's damn good. And I would agree. I think he's going to be a guy that's he'll have a lot of success. I think a little bit faster than Brevin Jordan. One of our tight ends a couple years ago that's in Houston, maybe even a little bit taller. Yeah, a stud football player.
How about your thoughts on Carson Beck? This time last year, many were projecting him to be the number 1 overall pick in this draft. Did not go well for him at Georgia, now transferring over to team up with Mario Cristobal. What are your expectations for Carson?
Well, expectations, I don't know what the expectations are. I hope he gets healthy. I mean, to come off elbow surgery and that, he hasn't thrown since, what was it, the Sugar Bowl where he got hurt last year. If he can get, he has all the physical ability in the world. He's 6'4", he's big, tall, tremendous velocity on the ball. It's just a matter of how he's going to do after that injury, because if he gets back healthy, they've got a lot of young, talented receivers that are there that can probably help develop. Last year, they get many catches during the season from Restrepo, but no, he'll have a lot of talent around him to be successful.
Last thing I'll ask you, just in the current landscape of college football, there was a story out today from the Tennessee program with Nico Iamaleava, right? The transfer portal window for the spring is opening back up in a few days, and I guess they're going through current NIL negotiations where I don't know what numbers are true. I guess he was getting $2.5 million. He wants $4 million. He's not showing up to the spring practice that was today. I'm in favor of NIL and the transfer portal, to be clear, but man, it really is the wild, wild west where this is clearly no longer an amateur game.
Well, the thing with how it's constructed now, a player in college is a free agent twice a year. He's a free agent in December when that window opens, and he's a free agent at the end of the year. To me, is you got to shut one of those windows down. You can't have transfers in a season when you're starting playoffs. The same way basketball. I mean, basketball. These guys what were they in the Sweet 16?
Yeah,
and
the portal.
The portal starts opening, so it's absolutely ridiculous. And how it's not shut for sports to where it's not during their season is, I don't know what the NC2A is waiting for. So you just do it at the end of the year. So they should have, if you have a 1-year contract, 2-year contract, whatever that is, you have, a window at the end of second semester. Maybe you don't have a full spring practice. Maybe you have OTAs after, in the summer to kind of reacclimate the new players or transfers in. I would say this, if they're negotiating now, I think that's good, because a couple years ago, it seemed like when Miami went to the Final Four, we had 8 basketball players going to the portal, not because they didn't like Miami and Coach L. That was their way of getting paid. So if you can renegotiate and that's great. I think that, hopefully he probably sees the check that Miami gave Beck and is like, hey,
what about me?
Yeah. What about me? So listen, more power to them. It's life-changing money that these kids are getting even in college now.
Gino, always appreciate the time. Thanks so much for doing this.
Anytime, Zach.
All righty, there is Gino Torretta. We'll take a time out. It is a Zach Gelb show on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
All right, it is Zach Gelb show on the Infinity Sports Network. I think I am one of the lone supporters, or the lone supporter, of Jose Luis Ballester from Arizona State, who is the amateur in the Masters tournament right now. You know, so what? He wore the upside down Arizona State hat. That to me is not a big deal. I don't care about that, you know. But people freaking out, losing their mind that he took a tinkle in Rays Creek. Like, give me a break. Go to golf course this Saturday, Samter. Do it. Do it this Saturday. You will see a lot of guys, after they have about 15 beers, they will walk into the woods and they will take a little tinkle. That's just what's going to happen. So I had no big issue with it, but everyone has to make this political, right? Angel in the YouTube chat. Zach, would it be okay if he would have taken a tinkle at the Trump National Doral Golf Club? Yeah, I don't care. You go to any golf course that you want. Augusta, you know, Trump National, whatever. You will see people that will go into the woods or will go into a creek and they'll take a number 1. Anyway, here is Jose Luis Ballester talking about the whole Tinkle issue.
I'm like, I really need to pee. Didn't really know where to go, and since JT had an issue around the game, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna sneak here in the river. Probably the people would not see me that much, and then they clap for me. Probably one of the claps that I really got today, like real loud. So that was kind of funny.
Are you concerned that there might be any blowback from that at all? Or I mean, obviously they did see you, right?
Yeah, they saw me. They saw me. I mean, it was not embarrassing at all for me. So if I had to do it again, I would do it again.
Not embarrassing for him. Guy with a lot of confidence, if I may say so myself. Like, who cares? This is what we're going to lose our mind over. Sorry, folks. It just doesn't do it for me. Let's go to Tom Pelissero. He was hosting on the Rich Eisen Show, which is right before us on many of these same Infinity Sports Network affiliates. And Tom Pelissero chimed in on the TJ Watt issue. For people that don't remember, TJ Watt the other day threw up the peace sign on his Instagram in a Steelers uniform, and now everyone's speculating that TJ Watt's going to be out in Pittsburgh.
I would fairly tell you TJ Watt probably is getting a little sick of waiting on the quarterback question as well. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do you want to play here or do you not? That opinion, from everything I've been told, is not solely to Cam Hayward. There are other people, certainly in the organization, in the locker room, who are just going like, what are we doing? We're back for off-season workouts in 10 days. Mm-hmm. We're coming up on the draft. What is the plan?
So his frustration is not with the contract necessarily. It's with the Aaron Rodgers situation. Well, let me just opine then on the state of the Steelers. This is not your grandfather's Steelers, all right? It's not. You thinking that there is some great view of the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. The Steelers are viewed right now as a good organization that is just stuck in the middle and hasn't won a playoff game since the 2016 season. It's not like there's this great notoriety anymore with the Pittsburgh Steelers where we look at them and we go, oh, you're going there and you're winning a championship. I don't think they have a leg to stand on here when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. And that's why they're letting Aaron Rodgers use them right now. Now, they may eventually think that he's going to come crawling to them and eventually sign with them because Aaron doesn't really have options. But Aaron's hoping that Minnesota says, you know what, J.J. McCarthy, we're good. We'll wait another year. We'll bring in Aaron Rodgers. And I don't believe that's going to happen. But what do the Steelers do? Like, to T.J. Watt, here's what I would say. If, let's say, he said to me, are you, he's annoyed with the Steelers waiting on Aaron Rodgers? Well, would you rather wait 2 more weeks on Aaron Rodgers or have Mason Rudolph starting week 1? I'll hang up and listen. Thanks, TJ. Zach on Long Island with the call at 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Come on. What are we doing here? So I think we need to lower our level when we look at the view of the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. The 6th Super Bowl championship Pittsburgh Steelers, they're not the same Pittsburgh Steelers as they've been the last 7 years or so. Shedeur Sanders. Can I ask a question? I say Shedeur. I hear some people say Shedeur. Do we know what the correct pronunciation is? Because I've been saying Shedeur all throughout the year, and I keep on hearing more and more people say Shedeur.
I've always heard Shedeur.
Right?
Same. Shedeur.
This past week, I've heard a lot of Shedeur. A lot of Shedeur. When I hear people doing interviews, I've always said Shedeur Sanders.
I will also say that our closed captioning transcribing program.
Well, that's not always accurate.
Yeah. It always thinks it's something door. Shoe door.
Oh.
Shy door. So it thinks it's door something.
Slam the door, close the door.
Something door.
Are you Shedeur or Shedeur when you say Sanders?
I always went Shedeur, but if he wants to be Shedeur, fine by me.
Well, to be clear, I don't know what he wants to be, but I've just heard more people this week say Shedeur. But anyway, here is Shedeur Sanders, and hopefully I'm not being disrespectful by saying Shedeur Sanders. He was on Up and Adams with Kay Adams from the airport after his visit with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and this is what he learned from his Steelers visit.
Understand the mindset and why they win a lot.
Why do they win a lot?
Just how he is as a person, and, just the values that the team has, and where he preaches from his staff down is similar to like my dad.
Okay, if you were to give yourself like a grade on how it went, because it's kind of like a job interview, right? You want to make sure you like it, they like you. What grade would you give yourself?
It was a 10. It was a 10.
Did he do that interview from the same creek that Jose Luis Ballester took a number 1 in. Geez, that connection, I know it was in an airport, but as Charles Barkley would say, that was just terrible. Now, getting to the Cleveland Browns, earlier in the show, I opened things up. I waved the white flag because I've been saying that the Browns should draft Shedeur Sanders at 2. I've been saying the Giants should draft Shedeur Sanders at 3 if he's available. I will now close the door on Shedeur potentially being drafted with the 2nd or 3rd overall pick. Now, who would think that we live in a world where Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Russell Wilson, and Jameis Winston would prevent you from taking a quarterback at 2 and 3? But where there's smoke, there's a fire, and the smoke that's been out the last 2 weeks, which I usually don't take the bait for in this NFL draft process, keeps on saying that the Browns and the Giants are both going to pass on Shedeur. So I'm going to actually believe that now, and I'll give you my updated top 5 once again on what I think will happen. Not should, but what will happen. Cam Ward 1 to the Tennessee Titans. Then in at number 2, I do think it's going to be Travis Hunter to the Cleveland Browns. In at number 3, Abdul Carter to the New York Giants. 4, Will Campbell to the Patriots. And then 5, Mason Graham to the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's what I think will happen with the first 5 picks 2 Thursdays from now in the opening round of the NFL draft. Let's go to BA, Bruce Arians. He was on the High Volume, a Colts podcast, and this is what he had to say about Anthony Richardson.
Anthony, I think, needed 2 more years of college. As a passer, not as an athlete. He's a great athlete. But as a passer, I didn't see him coming out being able to beat anybody in 2-minute and 3rd down. And that's where you win in the NFL. If you can't win 3rd down in 2 minutes, you're just an average guy. And I don't care how good you run. You don't run the ball in 2 minutes. As a quarterback, you throw it, and you command the game. I think his growth this year is going to be huge. If he can't make it, the growth that I think he can make, and I think he's going to put the work in. He's got a great reputation as a hard worker. But Daniel push him. Daniel's going to really push him.
Here's the 2 things. 1, I agree with Bruce Arians. I don't know if he needed 2 more years, but he definitely needed another year. The second part, do we know that he has a great work ethic? Now, I don't know that he doesn't. But when you know Anthony Richardson for getting benched in the NFL because he tapped out during a game because he was tired, can I definitely say that we all know that he has a great work ethic? Not that just because one thing happens doesn't mean the guy doesn't have a great work ethic, but I think there are similarities there. There are synonyms there in the situations. Let's go to Vic Fangio. And he was talking about Zach Bond, right, who came out of nowhere and was Defensive Player of the Year this year for the Philadelphia Eagles and made a big play in the Super Bowl. I thought the biggest play in the Super Bowl right before half, picking off Patrick Mahomes. Vic Fangio said even he and Howie Roseman were surprised by the success of Zach Bond.
Howie had a vision for him as being an edge player for us and being a good special teams player. And I watched him just a couple times during their games. He would, if they got the tight end off and motioned him across, he would back off and look like an inside linebacker, a stacked linebacker. And it only happened about 5 or 6 times. And the way he was moving when he got back there, it's just, and I can't explain it. It's just, you've watched 40 years of NFL film and coaching linebackers. I said, man, I think this guy could be an inside linebacker.
Obviously, they could like him. No one could have predicted what Zach Bond did this past year. Alrighty, I have not heard this yet. I'm a little concerned here. I'm a big fan of Mike Vrabel. I'm a big believer in Mike Vrabel. But the slug line says rules for Pats players. So I have no clue what this is going to be, and it's 56 seconds long. That seems like a lot of rules for one answer, so I don't know. Here's Mike Vrabel on rules for Patriots players.
One is to respect the team. Okay, respect the football team and the people that are here. Okay, the second one is, okay, I'd like you to have, when we're in a meeting, I know what the style may be, just pull your hood down in a meeting. Be on time. And if I can't be on time, Christian, what's the easiest thing to do? You would just call, right? You would, that's called communicate. Okay? All you got to do is say, hey, something came up. Okay? I'm going to be a little bit late. Now, after about 4 or 5 times, that starts wearing off. Okay? This is just a once in a while. All it is a respect thing. Okay? And the cell phones. Okay? We all got cell phones. Most of you have more than one, as a matter of fact. Just leave the cell phone in your bag, but just put the phone away. Okay, and if it rings, don't start coughing. Like, I've been in this league for 25 years. We all know when a cell phone goes off. We don't need to start coughing and doing that. We'll just turn it on and put it on silent, and we'll move on. Leave it in your bag.
All right, I'm all good with all those rules. I got no problem with any of those rules. Stu, have you ever had 2 cell phones, just wondering?
I have never had 2 cell phones.
Samter, have you ever had 2 cell phones?
Yes.
For what?
Accidentally.
What do you mean accidentally?
I had one, it wasn't working, so I got another one, and then the other one started working again, and somehow Verizon had them both on the network at the same time for like a
Can you
few
hear me
months.
now?
What's up?
Can you hear me now? Good. So you've had 2 cell phones by accident?
Yeah, by accident, but I never was a person who had 2 cell phones. I have a lot of friends who do, work and pleasure.
Unless if you're Adam Schefter and you're like a breaking news insider, I don't think there's any reason to have 2 cell phones. Now, some people be like, oh, I have one for personal and then one for business. I have friends that carry around 2 cell phones. I go, why can't you just do it on 1 cell phone? So what if business is going into your personal life? So what?
No, it's not even that. Is
Company
oftentimes
phone?
the business, there's sensitive information
Yeah.
that there has to be certain kind of encryptions and this and that, and that you can't put that on your personal phone.
Is the information really that sensitive?
Sometimes it is, yeah. When you're dealing with people's money and you're a trader or finance, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Work in government.
I don't know. I've never seen the need for 2 cell phones.
If you're a spy like Stu, he's got like 9 cell phones. He's got burner phones. He's got like 6 different passports.
Stu could be a drug dealer too. You never know. That's why he could have 2 phones.
You open up his locker, he's got like 9 different kinds of currency in there too. It's crazy.
Got a lot of candies in that locker.
He can
Stuart
head over to
Kovacs.
Italy on a drop of a hat.
Smells a little funky in Stu's locker. Smells like a skunk is in there. Anyway, here's Charles Barkley. So John Morant, how dumb is this guy? Like, I'm not irate about this stuff, but John Morant got suspended, right, where he said it was a toy gun, but he was flashing a gun and twirling a gun around on social media. I still don't believe that it was a toy gun. So this guy has done a gun celebration in the NBA, which any other player does it. I don't really have a problem with it, but when you're John Morant and you've been suspended for this, maybe you shouldn't do it. So then they fined him last week. We did a story on this. It was like $75,000, I think. And now he comes back with the grenade celebration. Just how stupid is this guy? And Charles Barkley, who I think is the voice of reason when it comes to the NBA on Inside the NBA on TNT, he commented on the John Morant grenade celebration.
He has a history that maybe he shouldn't be doing. Yeah, maybe just keep the celebrations with people might die alone.
You know what they're doing because y'all gonna keep talking about it. Pull that pin.
I know one person happy right now. Who's that? Taylor Jenkins ain't got to deal with this crap. He's going to get another job that he deserves. And I'm like, I don't have to deal with this immature stuff.
That's the thing. There's a level of maturity there, obviously, and then there's just stupidity. You've been punished and, suspended and then fined. And once again, if let's just say, give me a random NBA player, Samter, just give me a random NBA player. Jason Tatum?
There you go.
If this was Jason Tatum doing like a little gun celebration or doing a grenade celebration, that would be no problem. But John Morant, you've been punished now multiple times for acting like a dope. So the rules are different for you. So just stop. It's so simple here, right? Like, I think this is pretty common sense, right?
Yes, but I think part of it is almost like a middle finger at the league or at his critics. This is him saying, you guys are trying to stop me from doing stuff that I have no problem doing. You guys are causing all these nonsense issues.
Oh, no. He caused the nonsense. He was twirling around a gun on Instagram like an idiot.
Sure, but, I mean, as long as you're a legal carrier, we're in America and you're allowed to have a gun.
Sure.
He wasn't doing anything illegal. It's probably, not a good idea, but it's also not illegal.
You know what? Twirl around the gun enough times. See what good comes out of that.
Sure.
Wait until it misfires.
Sure. It's certainly irresponsible, a little immature, but it's nothing illegal, something terrible. Much worse things have happened around the NBA.
But he's an idiot.
Sure. But this to me feels like he's being defiant.
If, let's say your bosses came to you and told you to stop doing something, and then you got in the air and you made fun of it one time, and then they fined you for it after already being suspended, and then you came back another time and did a different iteration of it, honestly, the company would fire you. And now they're not going to fire John Morant because he's obviously talented, right? It's basketball. But this guy is so immature and he's ridiculous. And this is not the same John Morant that I remember first covering when he was at Murray State. We had Matt McMahon on 2 years before anyone ever talked about this guy. He is immature. Extremely immature.
I think part of it, though, is a $75,000 fine. If my bosses came to me and said, hey, we're going to fine you a nickel because of what you said, there's no deterrent for me not to do it again. $75,000 for a guy like John Morant, it's like it's an insult to...
Sure, but still $75,000 of a celebration is still significant. Like, considering what the act is, I understand what you're saying with how much money he makes, that equivalence isn't that big, but, come on. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's immaturity, and it's just him being stupid. And once again, if it was any other player, I wouldn't have an issue with it. But when you've been punished for this stuff, just stop. Knock it off. Grow up, be an adult. You're not 16 years old anymore. You're an adult in the NBA. Start acting like it. All righty, we'll come on back. We will talk about the worst QB rooms in the NFL. Update time first. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Scotty Scheffler on the course right now, midway through, a little more than midway through of his second round of the Masters. The wind's starting to kick up a little at Augusta National, but Scheffler managing well so far. He is 1 under for the day, 5 under for the tournament, 3 shots off the lead, which remains in the hands of Justin Rose after a 1 under 71 today. That leaves him at 8 under, 1 shot better than Bryson DeChambeau, who was 4 under for the day. But right behind him, among them, is Rory McIlroy, who had the best round of the day, a 6 under 66. That leaves him 2 shots off the lead, along with Corey Connors. And Scotty Scheffler right now still going as he is through 10 and 3 shots off the lead. Nico Iamaleava is a holdout from spring practice today. The Tennessee quarterback was a no-show, which surprised the coaching staff as he remains in talks for a new NIL deal. The Texans have signed another player from their defense, giving Jalen Petrie a 3-year extension with $30 million in guaranteed money. Joe Flacco back for another spin with the Browns, signing a 1-year deal. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Hey, like us on Facebook. Our handle is INF Sportsnet. That's INF Sportsnet for our Facebook page. This is the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
The MLS game preview is sponsored by Lowe's. Members get more with My Lowe's Rewards. Don't wait. Join for free today. Lowe's, we help you save. Lionel Messi and Inter Miami take on the Chicago Fire on Sunday. Messi is coming off a 2-goal performance on Wednesday against LAFC and has Inter Miami in second place in the Eastern Conference with 14 points in 6 matches this season. Remember when Messi, what was the level of soccer that they were playing in? Was it Copa America when his ankle was like swollen like a balloon? Oh, yeah. That was crazy.
It was bad.
So obviously he's since recovered from that, and he's playing at a very high level. Any thoughts, Stu? Because you're a big soccer guy in Samter, so I'll give you guys a minute here to have your soccer fix on the air. Any thoughts on Inter Miami and the Chicago Fire? Just wondering. I know you guys love the MLS, let me tell you.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like Messi either scores or gets an assist every game that they play, which is pretty impressive, and he just pretty much dominates. It's just a matter of him staying healthy and him resting at the right times for them to make a run this year.
Well, so they have obviously a championship in MLS, right?
Yeah, they have a playoff system, which most like European soccer doesn't have a playoff system. It's just kind of just what you do during the season. That's your result.
Okay.
So they have the actual playoffs, and they
I remember the Union. I think they were in the championship like 2 years ago or something.
Yes, I believe that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Miami had one of the best records last year, but they lost in the playoffs.
Ah, gotcha. The coach, the old coach of the Union, who got fired, he was at the Super Bowl. And my friend, who is an Eagles fan and a Union fan, he's a soccer hunk like you guys are. He ran up to the guy as if he was like the biggest celebrity in the world. And I'm like, how the heck did you even recognize that guy? Samter, you have any thoughts here on Inter Miami and Chicago?
I like their uniforms.
Okay. Can we get do they come to the area soon? Inter Miami?
They will likely be around here during the Club World Cup that's coming up later on this summer. Which there'll be some games. The World Cup is next year, but this year is the Club World Cup, and Inter Miami, because they're one of the hosts, will be part of it, and they'll be playing all around the country, so they might be able to come up here.
Is there anyone we could suck up to get tickets to see Messi? I would go to a soccer game to go see Messi.
Yeah,
I would. See if we could suck up to.
Remember that guy that we met out at the Super Bowl the other day?
Yeah, nice guy.
That guy.
What does he do again?
He's the head of communications and marketing and sponsorships for FIFA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He can get his tickets.
Yeah.
I love soccer.
Yeah.
I'm a huge soccer fan. Let me just tell you. Big soccer fan. Would never make fun of Stu or Samter for watching soccer while we're doing a show or anything like that. But that wouldn't be me whatsoever. I'm going to the Knicks game tonight. The Knicks play the Cavs. So I am now seeing the Cavs twice in a week because I saw them in San Antonio as well on Friday. So in a week span, I'll be seeing the Cavs to bookend my week and then end my week. And I got pretty good seats tonight. I'm sitting a row behind the bench. So if Thibodeau is coaching the way that Knicks fans are thinking he's coaching these days, I'm going to have to be like, hey, Tibbs, let me take over. Let me help you out here. Where's quarterback room, by the way, in the NFL right now? Stu, what say you worst quarterback room in the NFL right now?
I would say at the moment, and that obviously can change with the draft and free agency, but I mean, the Steelers with Rudolph and Skyler, that's not going to get it done. They have to have someone else in there. And I'm sure there will be, but right now that's the worst one for me.
Yeah, that's why it's funny. When Samter asked me this question before the show, I didn't even consider the Steelers because I'm just assuming Aaron Rodgers is going to be there or Shedeur Sanders are going to be there. But you're right, where it's currently constructed, when Mason Rudolph's going to be your week one starter, that's a stinky situation right now. Samter, what's your worst quarterback room right now?
There's a few. I mean, you look at the Saints with Derek Carr and Spencer Rattler, the Giants with Russ and Jameis. Currently, the Titans with Levis, Brandon Allen, Tim Boyle. My Jets with Fields and Tyra Taylor. It's hard not to go with the Steelers, but I think I'm going to have to go with the Browns with Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco. I mean, I love Flacco, but
two friends of the show, too.
Yeah. Well, Kenny Pickett, he's a friend of the show.
Chris in California,
There's a relative.
I think he called Bart last night. And Bart, he did the funniest thing. He was like, oh, wait, you're breaking up. I can't hear you. Talk to you later. And his cell phone connection was fine. He's like, I'm losing you. You're going under. We're in a bad reception zone. I was dying because he just couldn't take the Kenny Pickett stuff again. Because his take was that Kenny Pickett, got Jalen Hurts fired up, and that's why Jalen Hurts played so well to go win the Super Bowl MVP. I think the worst quarterback room right now, in how it's currently constructed, and I don't see it getting any better. Because like Stu said, the Steelers, you expect them, all right, Rodgers or Shedeur is going to be going there. Maybe the Browns do something else, but who knows? I'm saying it's the Colts. You got two guys that you don't really believe in. You're bringing in Daniel Jones, who you don't really believe in, to challenge Anthony Richardson, who you don't believe in and already benched. There's just no future right now, and their quarterback of the future isn't on the roster, so I'll go the Indianapolis Colts. Onside, offside next. It is Zach Gelb Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond. He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, hour number 3 of our radio program. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Before we get to onsides, offsides, I just saw a tweet as we were coming back from break. We have breaking news.
We have breaking news on the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, Stu Samter has no clue what this breaking news is. Or do you, Stu? Did you just find out the breaking news, Stu? Did you? Alrighty. Stu just threw his hands down. I thought he knew. It's quarterback news, not Aaron Rodgers related. If you had to take a guess who the team is, and this is not me being a pain in the ass. This is not me being a jokester or prankster. This is quarterback news that we have. Who's the team, Stu? If you had to take a guess.
Raiders.
Raiders related, but not the Raiders.
Are they picking in the top 10?
I'm not giving you any answers. Let's see if Samter could get it. Here comes the approach shot by Samter on 18. He is 75 yards out. He is needing to get a birdie here to stay within the lead at Augusta. Up, he's now walking over into the woods, and he's channeling his inner Jose Luis Ballester, and he is taking a number one in the woods. A despicable act. What a disgrace. That doesn't sound right if we're talking about peeing and then you're making that noise.
That's a golf clap. You have a dirty mind. Oh, you're terrible. For all of those people listening on the radio, do not let your minds wander to where Zach just... That was a golf clap.
Anyone got a magnifying glass?
I mean, accurate. Sadly, but accurate.
Do you have a guess on a team here?
I'm going to
Go with your heart. Go with your heart, because I think your heart's right here.
The New Orleans Saints.
Bingo.
Are they bringing in Shedeur for a visit?
No. Bigger than that.
Are they trading up for the number one pick?
No.
Yeah.
The Saints suddenly, according to Ian Rappaport, Rap Sheet, have a major quarterback question. Derek Carr is now dealing with a shoulder injury that threatens his availability for this season, sources say. Carr is weighing options, including the possibility of surgery. So hear me out here. We think this is likely, right? Cam Ward, first overall pick. Do I have a consensus here, an agreement?
Yes.
Then the second overall pick, the Cleveland Browns taking Travis Hunter. Are we in agreement so far on this one? Even though I think it should be Shedeur, I don't think it's going to be Shedeur.
Yes.
Okay. I'm like looking as if this is like on the plane and you're in the emergency exit row. I need a verbal yes confirmation, not just shaking the head since we're on the radio. Third overall pick, Abdul Carter to the New York Giants.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Fourth overall pick, Will Campbell, Alligator Arms, out of LSU. I become a big fan of those short arms to the New England Patriots, right?
Yes.
You would be a good miniature T-Rex probably playing with your daughter. 5, Mason Graham to the Jacksonville Jaguars, correct?
Absolutely.
6, Ashton Genty to the Raiders.
Yes.
Sure, but I think it's a mistake.
I think it should be Shedeur as well, but I don't think they're going to take Shedeur
either. I think the Bears can go with Genty, but the Raiders have so many problems. Genty's, it's just I don't get it.
7, the New York Jets, Tyler Warren,
that makes
tight
sense.
end.
Yep.
Penn State. What happened to Penn State hockey last night, Samter, by the way?
You see this right here? Let's go, BU. Let's go, Terriers. Woohoo! 2 goals in the second period. Held off Penn State's furious rally. BU in the national championship game. Going for their first title since 2009, baby.
A double throw of the pen right there by Samter in elation. Is there a team in sport that Samter does not root for? So in hockey,
I went to BU.
So in college, you like BU and Arizona State, right?
So BU had no football team.
They're undefeated at least.
Yeah. They had an intramural baseball team, and their basketball team was like in the America East. So when I went to Arizona, I adopted ASU because they had football, Power 5 basketball, and their baseball team was one of the best in the country, and their softball team too. So I can't root for BU football. There wasn't none.
And then for football, you like the Chiefs and the Jets.
And the Cardinals, because I worked for them.
Oh, my God. It's like a third of the league already.
I got my NFC team and my AFC teams.
And you know what's funny?
I worked for the Cardinals. What am I supposed to do, not like them?
Until the Chiefs, he hasn't had a championship.
I had the Yankees.
Yeah, that's true. Typical Yankee fan fashion.
Yeah,
Tell us about all these championships that happened like years ago.
My parents were born and raised in the Bronx. My dad writes a magazine about the Bronx.
They were born and raised in the Bronx, okay?
My first job when I was 15 years old, 16 years old, was working at Yankee Stadium selling hot dogs and sodas down the aisle.
Peanuts, Cracker Jacks. Yeah. Peanuts, Cracker Jacks.
I wish I had
Who
peanuts.
needs a dog? Who needs a dog?
Never got peanuts and Cracker Jacks until later on in my tenure there.
So I remember you selling food in stadium. You had to sell hot dogs in a stadium?
Hot dogs and soda.
Oh.
The two worst things to sell.
That seems like an absolute bitch, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and this was the time when the hot dogs came in the big bin, and you'd have to take the hot dog out of the water,
the dirty water,
put it onto the bun
with the fork,
wrap it into the tinfoil, and hand it off. It wasn't like the
Did you have to ketchup and mustard for them?
Yeah, but they had to ask for it. You don't get it unless you ask for it.
So what was your hot dog and soda call?
So I only had hot dogs a couple times, but it was hot dogs, get your hot dogs here, get your hot dogs. And then soda was a little bit easier. Soda was the hardest thing because
get your pop.
They didn't get your. You didn't have a strap for the tray to hold it.
Okay.
So you're holding this heavy ass tray. At least with beer, people buy 2, 3, 4 beers, whatever. People buy one soda and they barely even drink it.
$7.25.
So it's heavy as hell. No one's buying it. Ice cold soda here. Soda. Ice cold soda here. And you put it on your head. It was terrible.
Now, I'm not a big soda guy.
Yeah.
But at a baseball game, I'm getting a beer.
Yeah.
I'm not getting a soda.
Yeah, but I mean, kids were getting soda.
Sure.
And there's some people don't drink, or maybe they had too many drinks. So
you're the reason why America's obese is because you're giving all those kids sodas. Pretty much.
One.
I think you got to go for hot dogs. Get your weenies here. Who wants a wiener? Come on. Who wants a wiener?
Yeah, I wasn't.
Give me a tip. Give me a
confident
tip.
enough to go with weenies. Just the tip.
Yeah, just give me a tip. That was it. That's you wanted a tip, right?
Sure.
Yeah, of course you did. It's extra money in your pocket.
I feel like you're trapping me into saying something on the air that you're going to clip and use later on.
No, that would require then Stu also playing it as well. So, there's level of checks and balances here. But anyway, back to the big news. Since we got sidetracked, I don't even know how we got down that rabbit hole, but we did. Oh, well. The Saints now. Oh, wait, I was at 7 with Tyler Warren. That's where we were. And then we talked about Penn State BU hockey.
Man,
that's where we were.
It's last hour on a Friday. Our minds are allowed to wander.
Yeah. 8, Jalen Walker to the Panthers. We're in agreement?
Sure.
Then 9 are the Saints. The Saints should take Shedeur. Why not? You're shaking your head no. Why not?
After listening to Todd McShay yesterday, it makes so much sense for them to go with Jackson Dart.
Yeah, but Jackson Dart actually has to be good.
When you like a guy, when a guy fits your offense, you don't try to fit a round peg into a square hole.
Tot.
Kellen Moore likes big, strong, athletic, mobile guys with big arms. That is the exact opposite of what Shedeur Sanders is. Why build an offense the way you built your offense your entire life? You've had guys like Dak. You've had guys like Jalen Hurts. These are the guys that you've had around you. You can't just
because you have to be
Shedeur
good
into it.
Jackson Dart to me is not first round good. Shedeur Sanders is first round good, and great coaches adapt to their talent. That's what I've learned. So I think now the Saints and the Steelers have become two fascinating teams in the draft. The Browns are fascinating because we don't think they're going to take a quarterback now, so they take Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. Then the Giants, will they take a quarterback or they take whoever remains between Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter? We think they're going to take Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. In the Shedeur race right now, it's a race to 9 because I think the Raiders will pass at 6, but the Raiders have some intrigue. I think 9's a possibility. And then also, I don't think he'll fall to 21, but if he starts to fall past 9, then you could have the Steelers maybe move on up in the draft. Or you could have the Browns and the Giants double dip and then move back in to the first round. Shedeur's got to go to either the Browns, the Giants, the Raiders, the Saints, or the Steelers. Doesn't he have to go to one of those 5 teams? I can't even think of another team out there that would potentially draft Shedeur Sanders.
Maybe the Jets.
But signing Justin Fields now?
Yeah, but Justin Fields, that's a contract you can get out of.
No, absolutely. But it's a 2-year deal. I think they're going to roll the dice here with Justin Fields for a little bit.
Sure, but if there's a quarterback you like, you're not banking yourself on Justin Fields.
So why not just take him at 7 then?
I mean, it's an option, but I think if Tyler Warren's there. But here's the way I'm looking at it, right? The Steelers, unless the Giants or someone else moves back up, they might not have to move up from 21. If Shedeur drops past 9, now you have the Bears. They're not drafting a quarterback. Mm-hmm. The 49ers, not drafting a quarterback. The Cowboys, not drafting a quarterback. The Dolphins, most likely not drafting a quarterback. The Colts, I guess, is possible.
I don't think they will, though, because of the fact that you brought in Richards. You have Richardson. You just used a 4th overall pick on him 2 years ago, and you brought in Daniel Jones. Once again, I understand what you're saying.
Right.
I would use the pick there on Shedeur. I don't think they will, though.
Correct. So most likely not there at 14, 15, Falcons. 16.
Hold on. The Falcons?
Yeah.
Who knows after last year? Maybe they do.
And then they'll trade Kirk Cousins and Penix, or keep them both on the third string. 16,
By the way, that was a
Cardinals.
joke. If you can't tell that was a joke, please turn off the radio right now. That was not serious. Do not tweet me later saying, oh my God, Zach's the biggest idiot, moron, dope in America because he thinks the Falcons are going to take Shedeur Sanders. I don't actually believe the Falcons are going to take Shedeur Sanders.
That's
All right,
hogwash.
you can continue.
That's hogwash. 16,
Blasphemous.
16 is the Cardinals. They're not drafting a quarterback. The Bengals at 17, not drafting a quarterback. The Seahawks just signed Sam Darnold, not drafting a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
The Buccaneers love Baker Mayfield, not drafting a quarterback. The Broncos at 20 have Bo Nix, not drafting a quarterback. If Shedeur doesn't go in the top 9, I think he's fallen to 21 to the Steelers unless someone moves back up into the first round.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. I was letting you, get out your smart analysis there and saying how if he gets past 9, he gets to 21.
I'm smart. This is the first time ever I've heard smart and Samter
It's a
in the same.
Friday. I'm in a giving mood.
Wow.
I'm giving out compliments.
Wow.
Stu, you look wonderful. Santa, you look smart. Oh, well, Stu, the Devil's jersey. I don't know how wonderful you could look in a Devil's jersey, but considering what you're wearing, Stu, you look wonderful, right? And what are you wearing? That's a
BU, baby.
Oh, I thought you were in a Russia hockey jersey.
No, it's a BU jersey signed by Bobby Orr right here. If you see that, that's Bobby Orr.
Did you
The
meet
great
Bobby Orr?
Yeah, he was at a BU hockey game.
Mm-hmm.
I was wearing my jersey, maybe a few sauced up drinks through.
Okay.
And Bobby Orr signed my jersey.
Were you in college then?
Oh, yeah.
So that jersey's from college?
This is from
Wow.
like 1999, 2000.
I was going to say 1939 maybe.
Ouch. Ouch. Wow.
So that's an old. Wait, can you just move to the left or the right? Well, the other way. Sorry, my left. More. Yeah, that does look like an old jersey. No, I could see the signature on Bobby Orr, but for that, you said you got that jersey in '99. That's holding up pretty well, Santer.
Yeah, I mean, I
would think because it's a white jersey, you think it'd be like yellowy right now. It'd be like
if
archaic.
you came close, there's a lot of like random stains all over it.
I could see Santer in college with the beer hat on, with like two cervezas, one out of the left, one out of the right ear, and you walked around with like the beer hat on. That's what I could see you.
I
Especially at a
enjoyed
college
my time
game.
in college. I'll just say that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. That's good to know. Especially
Oh yeah.
actually going out when you were in that age. I don't know if it was the same back then in Boston.
It was
terrible.
impossible.
Terrible.
It was impossible.
You
But
have
I
to
had an
go
older
so
brother.
early to the bars.
Yep.
It's freezing.
Yep.
You got to stand outside and like
We go to the bars, no one ever cared. In Boston, they were checking IDs at the door.
I will not condone those actions, just to be clear.
Well, I'm just saying. They would check IDs at the doors. They would even have like a little thing that they would swipe the ID to make sure that you were 21. So the only way really to party was like fraternities and house parties.
Yeah, well, but getting back to this conversation, as this has just been a sidetracked final hour of the show, one of those 5 teams, Browns, Giants, probably trading back up. The Saints, the Raiders may be trading back up because I don't think it's going to be 6, or the Steelers. One of them have to get Shedeur. If not, I can't even think of another team that would take him. And it's not because like, oh, he's not good. It's because I don't know if those teams have a need at the quarterback position, and they don't have someone there that they're going to continue to rock and roll with. By the way, did you guys ever have a fake ID? Just wondering. Stu, did you ever have a fake ID?
Did not.
Sam, do you have a fake ID?
Somebody who I know who might or might not have been a friend of mine may have made fake IDs in high school.
For you, it's clearly past the statute of limitations by now.
Oh, yeah, okay. So a
Going
friend of
back like
mine
2
used to make
decades,
fake
right?
IDs, yes. And then my brother, who looks just like me, just gave me his ID. And he was like 4 years older than I am, so that worked.
Our friends and I, we got fake IDs. It came in a teddy bear. And the teddy bear, it was a box in a teddy bear. And the teddy bear showed up and we're like, oh, we got scammed. And then one of my friends said, what happens if the IDs are in the teddy bear? It's like in Zoolander. The information is in the computer. And he smashes the computer thinking the information will pop out. Yeah, we had to open up the teddy bear, and all the fake IDs were in the teddy bear.
How many people do you think ordered these, not realizing that they had to open up the teddy bear and just threw it out?
Yeah. I wasn't smart enough to realize they were in the teddy bears, but I guess my friends were smart enough to realize that. So we had to slice open carefully the teddy bear. We did
Poor
a little
teddy.
surgery. Yeah, and unfortunately the teddy bear didn't make it. So rest in peace to the teddy bear. All right, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. So Derek Carr, that's the big news. He may miss the entirety of the season. So the Saints suddenly have a major quarterback question, according to Ian Rappaport. Starter Derek Carr is now dealing with the shoulder injury that threatens his availability for this season, sources say. Carr is weighing options, including the possibility of surgery. So not good news there on Derek Carr. And it seems like that's going to be it for his tenure with the New Orleans Saints. All righty, we will take a timeout. We will come on back. When we do return, we'll do a little onside, offside, because we got sidetracked here with Samter's love for BU hockey and 4,000 other teams, fake ID talk, some breaking news we had, about Derek Carr.
And Penn State hockey.
Penn State hockey and Stu's ugly Devils jersey. So that's a lot to just process in the last 15 minutes. It is the Zach Gelb Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network. Onside, offside. Next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Zach's taking on the most polarizing issues in sports. Which side of the line of scrimmage will he end up on?
Offside. Defense number 69.
It's Onsides, Offsides with Zach Gelb.
Alrighty, onside, offside time. Stu, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So, there's a job that's open here at the Infinity Sports Network. Most people are thinking I'm going to talk about the overnight job. That's not what I was talking about. There's multiple jobs here. But there's a producer job open. D-Cell, Tom D. Celestino. I always call him D-Cell. His last name's too difficult to pronounce. It was his last day today, so congratulations to him. He's the executive producer of the Writer Than You radio program. Yeah, well, he's still technically by the end of the day, you know. But anyway, he was, is, were, maybe, you know, who knows? He was he was the executive producer for Writer Than You. So that job, I guess, has been posted already, that the job is open. Now, I've had 3 people. I can't even remember the last time I talked to these people that have reached out to me to say, hey, can you put in a good word for me? I'm going for the job. Onside or offside, if you don't keep in contact with someone, it's fair game to reach out to that person for you to advocate or for them to get your endorsement maybe for a job. What do you think, Stu?
Offside.
You wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't, no. Not if it's not someone that you talk to like at least once a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's someone that's like once a month, once every 2 months. Yeah, I would feel uncomfortable doing that.
Samter, your thoughts?
I don't care if you don't talk to the guy for 5 years. If the person knows that you're a good producer, worker, whatever, and they're a good reference, yeah, like hit up whoever. That's what, I mean, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And oftentimes just networking is the key. So yeah, I'm all for it. If this guy that hit you up, you know, is a good producer and he'd be a good fit for the role, whether you've talked to him
Here's the
5 years ago?
Here's the problem. I don't really, the 3 people that reached out to me, I don't really know much about them professionally.
Oh, well, then never mind.
Like, I've had others that have reached out to me that I would advocate for because I keep in contact with them. I know I worked with them. But 3 people reach out to me. I don't even remember the last time I talked to them. And they're like, hey, can you go to your boss and put in a good word? Or can you call Bill and put in a good word for me? I'm like, what good word would I be putting in for you? I've never worked with you. I have no clue what you're about.
He's great at chugging beers.
It's amazing how many people, and I get it, people need to find work, so like I have sympathy for that. But it's amazing like how many people will reach out to you to do them a favor, and it's like I don't even like, hey, like do I have some pull? Yes. Do I have as much pull as you think? No. And then also, if I don't know what to sell you on, I can't really sell you. So that's where we're starting that one off. Alrighty, Stu, let's get to the sheet.
All right, so the Browns were expected to take Shedeur Sanders with the number 2 pick in the draft. But the closer we get to the draft, the less likely it seems that they'll go quarterback with their pick. First, they traded for Kenny Pickett. Then rumors swirled about their love for Travis Hunter. And now the team brought veteran Joe Flacco back, who led them to the playoffs in 2023. Onside, offsides, Kenny Pickett will be the Browns' Week 1 starter.
No. I'm going offside there. I think it's going to be Joe Flacco.
Offside.
All right, so after TJ Watt's cryptic post.
Did you say that was it?
That was quick. No, offside. I think it will be Joe Flacco.
There's not that much commentary that I got. They brought in Joe Flacco because Joe Flacco's better than Kenny Pickett. I don't think they're drafting Shedeur Sanders with the 2nd overall pick. even if they trade back up to get Shedeur Sanders, I don't think he'll be the week 1 starter. I think it's going to be Joe Flacco. What I have to sit here and
Kenny
talk
Pickett
about
was a
45
first-round pick
minutes?
2 years ago. Maybe they're bringing in Joe Flacco to mentor Kenny Pickett because they think he has a chance of being a starter in the NFL. 2 years ago, he was the only first-round quarterback.
All right, Chris in California. All right, let's keep it moving. What do we got here?
After TJ Watt's cryptic post flashing the peace out
Santa's
sign.
like Humpty Dumpty right now. He just almost fell out of that chair.
After TJ Watt's cryptic post that flashed the peace out sign, people are now starting to think that the Steelers and Watt may be headed towards
By
a
the way,
divorce.
do you say peace out or chuck up the deuces?
I say peace out.
I would say chuck up the deuces, even though I end the show every day. All right, we'll talk to you on Monday. We'll talk to you tomorrow, everybody. We out. Bye-bye. Peace. I would say if you're leaving, you're chucking up the deuces. But I could be a douche when I say that too. I'll also admit. All right, continue. Sorry, Stu. I'm being impolite here. I'm being rude.
So now Vegas put their odds for a trade destination for Watt. And Zach, you'll be thrilled to know that your Pats, they lead the way at 3-1.
Really?
Followed by the Seahawks at 4-1, the Eagles at 5-1, and then the Cardinals at 6-1. Onsets, offsides, the Patriots should trade for Watt, even if it means giving up the 4th overall pick.
Now let me ask you a question. Would I not be getting Travis Hunter at 4?
I think he's gone by then. He's going to Cleveland.
Would I not be getting Abdul Carter at 4?
He is gone as well.
Then absolutely. If I could get one of those players, I'm not doing this. 4th overall pick for TJ Watt. TJ, come to New England. And it would annoy the Steeler fan, which I'm good about. Because the Steeler fan, let me remind you who your father is. It's the New England Patriots. They owned you for 20 years. Every big game, we beat the snot out of you. We embarrassed you. All right? Belichick, Brady own you. So now, this new era of the New England Patriots, I'd be more than fine from taking your best player. But for the best interest of TJ Watt, get out of Pittsburgh and go to an actual Super Bowl contender. And I can be objective here. Here's the hot take of the day. The Patriots are not a Super Bowl contender right now. But would I give up the 4th overall pick for TJ Watt? Sure. Why not? If I'm not getting Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, yeah, I'm in. So I would go on sides.
So Abdul Carter is all but assured to go into top 4 and could go as high as 2.
Psych Mantha says take Watt and pass on T-Rex. He's talking about Will Campbell. I kind of hope we get Will Campbell on before the draft. Because in the way that I ask questions and also give my opinions in interviews, I think I could get him to just unload on this topic. Because I would be like, all right, I think the commentary about the short arms is stupid. And I think if I say that to him, it would really set him off.
He's already kind of unloaded on it.
I know, but you know how the news cycle works. You could say one thing a month ago, no one remembers it, and a month later we parachute in and we take the news and we make it our own news. That's what happens. Come on, let's be real. There's been times at this network where there's been these car wash tours, and you'll get a guest on, they'll say the same thing, and for some reason, whatever it is, it always goes viral when it's on with us. So, we have that ability. We have that ability somehow, some way. All right. Sorry, Stu. Continue.
So Abdul Carter.
How many times are you going to say sorry, Stu, in this segment? I think I'm betting the over.
Sorry, Stu.
Who was the Jonte Porter on the Raptors, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm feeling a little under the weather. I'm going to sit this one out.
Yeah, so sorry, Stu. I have some money on the line. Just say sorry, Stu, about 13,000 times in this segment. Sorry, Stu. Go ahead.
So Abdul Carter could go as high as 2 in the draft. However, Penn State star did not work out at all this offseason after doctors found a stress reaction in his foot. New reports, however, gave him some good news as his foot is healing on its own and he likely will not require surgery. And we also remember Carter hurting his shoulder, of course, during the college football playoffs. Onsides, offsides, Carter's multiple recent injuries are a concern.
When you mean concerning, you're like, oh my goodness gracious, I would pass on him, right?
Yes.
Because I could obviously just, take the easy way. I'll be like, yeah, it's a little bit concerning, but that's not the intent of the way that you're asking it. I do not think it's a major concern where I would take this guy off my draft board. I would easily I think he's the best player in the draft, period. So Carter's multiple recent injuries are concerning. I'm going offside.
Offside. So Jonathan Allen bolted from Washington after 8 seasons to join the Vikings and has already seen a dramatic difference. In a conversation on Chris Long's Green Light podcast, Allen decided to trash the Commanders' facilities.
Getting to see Minnesota, that's some state-of-the-art right there. And were you blown away when you went and visited?
I was. The one thing we were always told in college is once you get to the NFL, the facilities aren't nice. Just everything's not as nice. Like, as far as just how much money is being spent on the players, college, one of the top programs, is usually the best. But man, when I came here and I seen They have kombucha, and they just had all the drinks in the fridge and the facilities. I was just like, wow. Like, I feel like I've been cheated my last 8 years. I'm like, these guys over here living like this is incredible.
So if you remember, the Commanders received a grade of F by the players for their facilities, while the Vikings got an A+. Onsides, offsides, the Commanders' facilities will hurt their chances of signing star players and building a title team around Jaden Daniels.
Before I answer your question, Samter, I have a question for you.
Okay.
You've been to a lot of Super Bowl locations.
Yeah.
What was the worst Super Bowl host city in your opinion?
New York was tough. Just because the way everything was and the fact that it was at MetLife and just getting from the city to Jersey was a
mess.
Mess.
I think there's an obvious answer here.
I mean, Detroit was also tough just because it was like cold and just nasty. What do you think?
You're getting warmer, even though you're talking about it being cold.
Minnesota. Well, so the Minnesota Radio Row was terrible.
It was in a Mall of America.
Yes, the location was terrible, but I actually enjoyed that Super Bowl because I thought there was a lot of fun stuff going on.
You know why? Because Samter's like a little kid. That's what I realized going away with him. He doesn't have a great attention span either. You throw him in one of these rooms and he's like all over the place. And they have that amusement park, obviously, in the Mall of America. I could see yourself having a lot of fun there.
Dude, I was on the roller coaster with Tiki and BT. We were like going up. Yeah, it was awesome. I had the best time.
For us grown adults, even though you're much older than me, I hated the Minnesota Super Bowl.
The Radio Row was bad. You're right.
And that was a great moment for my career because I was doing post-game for the Eagles. And I was also talking to Eric Spitz here to get a job. And that's how I started here at the time at CBS Sports Radio. I was doing a little moving and grooving down there at that Super Bowl, even though I was there on two different companies' dimes and I was getting another job. So that's the negotiations. But I remember two things from that Super Bowl. I was at the Dicka and Jaws cigar party, and they had a little outdoor heated tent. My Guinness froze. It was that cold. Froze. And then also, you're there for a whole week. So, there's only so many things that you could do that you eat, like the food that's reflective of the city, until you just want something normal. So it must have been the Thursday or Friday after being there for the entire. I'm like, I just want some pizza, and I sat down at a restaurant. I ordered pizza, and it's the only time in my life that I vividly remember sending back the food and saying I got to order something else. I took one bite. It was the worst pizza. It was undercooked. It was the worst pizza I've ever had. So it's funny to me that when you talk about Minnesota, and the people in Minnesota are great, right? Like the Vikings fans are awesome and everything. Wild fans are great. I love that dude back in the day when KG was there and they didn't want to get traded, and he ripped off his shirt and it was like, keep KG, and then the cops escorted him out, and when KG came back all those years later, he did that same kind of skit all over again. So there's great people in Minnesota, but it makes sense that their facilities are awesome because, if you're an NFL player, you're freezing your ass off all the time. The facilities better be good, warm, and comfy. But anyway, Stu, the question you asked me here is the Commanders' facilities will hurt their chances of signing star players and building a title team around Jaden Daniels. I think the facilities will get better under Josh Harris. That's number one. Number two, you're in a winning situation right now as long as Jaden Daniels continues to be Jaden Daniels. So I think money is money, and you'll get over the facilities. So I'll go offsides here.
Offside!
So John Morant won't quit after a slap on the wrist for his repeated gun gestures. The controversial Grizzly star switched up his celebration, but stuck with the weapon theme. Now after big plays, John mimics throwing a grenade into the crowd and doesn't plan to stop, saying, quote, "That's my celebration now until somebody else has a problem with it, and I'll find another one," end of quote. Onside, offside, do you have a problem with Ja's new celebration?
Yeah, because he doesn't get it, right? Like, you've been suspended, you've been fined. Any other player does this, it's not a big deal, but it's a big deal because of the stupidity that you've done in the past. So just stop, grow up and be an adult and be a professional. So with just him doing it, yes, I do have a problem with it. So I go on sides on this one.
So Giannis and the Bucks are getting hot at the right time, winning their last 6 games, moving up to the 5 seed and likely facing the number 4 Pacers in the first round. Giannis is red hot, averaging over 31 points over his last 9, including 4 triple-doubles. If they beat Indiana, they will likely face the number 1 seeded Cavs in the second round. Onside, offside, you can see the Bucks making the Eastern Conference Finals.
I would love to say yes, but also with Doc Rivers being their coach too, and Doc, he has faded a lot as a coach, and the Bucs have been a problem in the postseason, not a good way since they won a championship a few years back. I just can't get on board since you've won your last 6 games in a row. I need to see more before I could say that they're going to be in the Eastern Conference Final, so I will go offside.
Offside.
All right, last one here. We've seen a lot of weird things at the Masters over the years, but maybe none as strange as what amateur Jose Luis Ballester did yesterday. On the 13th hole, the 21-year-old Arizona State Sun Devil disappeared briefly, but was spotted by fans urinating into Rays Creek. After the round, Ballester admitted to his crime, but didn't seem too concerned.
I'm like, I really need to pee. Didn't really know where to go, and since JT had an issue around the green, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna sneak here in the river. Probably the people would not see me that much, and then they clap for me. Probably one of the clubs that I really got today, like real loud. So that was kind of funny.
Are you concerned that there might be any blowback from that at all? Or I mean, obviously they did see you, right?
Yeah, they saw me. They saw me. I mean, it was not embarrassing at all for me. So if I had to do it again, I would do it again.
So onside offsides, Ballester should be punished for his actions.
No. The guy did what every guy does when they're on a golf course. I get it. It's the Masters. Oh, it's tradition. Oh, you're in a public setting. He went off and went to the bathroom. All right? Most people, when they play golf, if you're on like the 13th hole, let's just say, and you got to go to the potty, and let's say it's not number 2, it's a number 1, you go right into the woods. So this guy went into the creek. Come on. It's not a big deal to me. So he should be punished for these actions. Offside.
Offside.
Alrighty, we will take a timeout. When we come on back, Stu's going to give me some prospects in the draft, and I'll tell you where their best fit is. But first up, with the latest sports flash, here is Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Well, with less than 2 weeks to go before the draft, the Saints' plans may have taken a turn as quarterback Derek Carr reportedly has a shoulder injury, one that could keep him out this season. He is contemplating surgery. The Saints currently have the 9th pick overall after winning Comeback Player of the Year in 2023. Joe Flacco is returning to Cleveland on a 1-year deal, and Jalen Petrie, the latest Texans defender to get a new deal, 3 years, $39 million with $30 million in guaranteed money. At the Masters, everyone is still chasing Justin Rose, who has the lead at 8 under par, 1 shot better than Bryson DeChambeau, who turned in a 4 under 68 today, and among those, a couple of shots back, Scotty Scheffler, the defending champ, currently battling the wind at Augusta National right now. He is on the 14th hole, 1 under on the day. He is at 5 under par, 3 shots off the lead. Rory McIlroy had the best round of the day, a 6 under 66 that took him from even par to 6 under par. A tremendous bounce back by McIlroy, who is chasing that elusive green jacket after double bogeys on both 15 and 17 yesterday. I'm Rich Ackerman.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on X. Our handle is INF Sports Network. That's INF Sports Network on X.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick from the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, it's time to answer Ask the Pros question of the day, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Jake in Georgia says, Zach, after a day and a half of the Masters, who do you think is going to win? You can submit a question by tweeting at INF Sportsnet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag Ask the Pros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. I was thinking about taking Rory McIlroy because Hickey just tweeted out, I refuse to ride the Rory roller coaster. Would love to see him finally get the green jacket, but I can't do the highs and lows of his rounds. I'm not built for it. I won't believe he could win at the Masters until he actually does. So there's a very, 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 very good chance Rory McIlroy now wins because Hickey's saying he's not going to win pretty much. I'm going to go with Bryson DeChambeau. Now, he's won 2 major championships, hasn't won at Augusta. He had a really good round today, going 4 under, was 3 under the first day of the tournament, so 7 under so far for the tourney with a 69 and a 68. I'm going to say Bryson DeChambeau wins, and I think it would be the best thing for golf, even though Rory would get the career Grand Slam, because I think still people are 50-50 on Bryson. I've come around on Bryson. I'm a big fan of Bryson, and I like what he brings to the game of golf, showcasing his personality now, which he's improved leaps and bounds on that. So I'll take Bryson DeChambeau to win the Masters. All righty, Stu, do we got a little NFL music here? Stu's going to give me the name of the player for the draft. And I'm going to say not where he's going to go, but where I think the most realistic best fit is for this player.
All right, let's start with Shedeur Sanders.
Steelers. You get the respect of Tomlin. Arthur Smith is a fine offensive mind. And you have DK Metcalf and George Pickens to throw the football to. I would say Shedeur Sanders to the Steelers would be a good fit.
All right, what about the two-way sensation, Travis Hunter?
I think he's going to go to Cleveland, but I would say the best fit is actually the New York Giants. The Giants need a star. Like, they lost Saquon, sure. Malik Neighbors was unbelievable his first year, but if you get the two-way stardom with the athleticism of Travis Hunter, I think that could play very well, especially in the New York market.
What about Penn State's Abdul Carter?
I would say the Browns. You pair them up 1-2, Myles Garrett on one side. You have then Abdul Carter on the other side. Now, we still don't know who your running back's going to be. We don't know who your quarterback's going to be. It could be Joe Flacco. At least you'll be able to put a lot of hits on the quarterback, and you could have 2 double-digit sack guys on that defense. I would say Abdul Carter to the, here we go, Brownies, here we go.
What about the expected number 1 pick, Cam Ward?
The Tennessee Titans. They need a face of their franchise. Cam Ward would be the face of that franchise, and it would be their first franchise quarterback since Steve McNair? Because Vince Young didn't last long in the league. I wouldn't say Ryan Tannehill was ever perceived to be a franchise quarterback. Didn't they draft Jake Locker too? That didn't work.
Oh, yeah. That was not good.
They've had a lot of bad... I don't think they've had a franchise quarterback since Steve McNair, if we look at the Tennessee Titans. So, yeah, they need a face of the franchise, and that would be Cam Ward.
What about T-Rex Arms, Will Campbell?
The Patriots. Patriots need an offensive lineman. The tackle position for New England has been egregious the last few years, so Will Campbell going to the Patriots at 4 would make a ton of sense.
All right, what about the near Heisman winner, Ashton Genty?
I'm going to say your Raiders, Stu. The Raiders need some oomph on the offensive side of the ball. Now, Geno Smith's a fine quarterback. He's not the guy that provides that oomph. You do got Brock Bowers, but if the quarterback is limited, Brock Bowers still have a ton of success, but I think they need a face of that offense. And Pete Carroll, right, even though Russell Wilson was really good for that team, you thought of Marshawn Lynch first on the offensive side of the ball. I think that Ashton Genty could be the Marshawn Lynch of Pete Carroll's offense with the Raiders.
What about Penn State's Tyler Warren?
I would say the Jets. The Jets, they need another piece. Like, all right, Justin Fields is a major question mark, but you got a very good running back in Breece Hall. You got a very good wide receiver in Garrett Wilson. I think you need another piece on that offense. I would look at Tyler Warren, who is just a tremendous tight end.
Sticking in the Big Ten, what about Michigan's Mason Graham?
I would think the Jaguars. You got 2 good ends in Josh Hines Allen, who I like a lot. And then Trayvon Walker is starting to find his way, but I got to see more. Beef up the interior of that line. I love what Mason Graham did. What he did up against Ohio State this year was absolutely phenomenal. So I would go with the Jaguars there for Mason Graham.
How about another defender, Jalen Walker?
Now, Burns is no longer with the Panthers. He got traded to the Giants. Yeah, I think you need another defensive player. I know Derek Brown's their big interior defensive lineman, even though he got banged up. I think you need another big defensive piece there in Carolina. I would go Jalen Walker with the Carolina Panthers.
All right, and last but not least, we have the wide receiver out of Arizona, Tetairoa McMillan.
I think the Cowboys need a little more flavor on their offense. Like, Dak Prescott has been an injury problem, but he'll be their starting quarterback. Running back situation, very short in terms of guys that you could count on, because there's not a guy that you could count on. Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, Deuce Vaughn, like none of those guys jump off the page to you. You got CeeDee Lamb, but you need another wide receiver. They're going to be chucking the ball a lot in Dallas this year. So I would say the Dallas Cowboys for Territora McMillan. How do you say his first name? I can never get that right.
I think it's Tetaroa.
Tetaroa?
Yeah.
Tetaroa McMillan.
T-Mac.
Yeah, T-Mac. Not Tracy McGrady, but Tetatora McMillan, however you say his name. That's the one name that I just cannot get right. But I would say him with the Dallas Cowboys. By the way, Tennessee Titans quarterbacks since Steve McNair: Vince Young, Kerry Collins, Rusty Smith, just guys that have started games, Matt Hasselbeck, Jake Locker, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Zach Mettenberger, Charlie Whitehurst, Marcus Mariota, Matt Castle, Blaine Gabbert, Ryan Tannehill, Malik Willis, Joshua Dobbs, Will Levis, Mason Rudolph. Just guys that have started games for the Tennessee Titans since Steve McNair. And you know what? Nationally, we do not talk about Tennessee being a quarterback disaster as much as we do with other teams. Yes, Stu.
I guess Tannehill's the best one, right? I mean,
yeah.
That's not saying a whole lot, but he probably is the best one of that bunch.
Yeah, because Mariota was a bust. Vince Young was a bust. Locker was a bust. Yeah. They need a face of their franchise. And the face of their franchise, even when they were good, was Derrick Henry, obviously. And that was a running back. So they need Cam Ward. They got to take Cam Ward with the first overall pick. Because even though I like when Will Levis comes on the show, Mayo Boy ain't cutting it as a pro NFL quarterback. And if he does have to start for them this year, I don't think Callahan, their coach, is going to be able to survive the season. I thought he was going to pop this year. Oh, that guy was like a volcano. He was just ready to erupt anytime Will Levis decided to channel his inner Carson Wentz without the one MVP type of season and was just tossing the ball to the wrong team over and over again in just stupid fashion. All right, that will do it for another week of the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll be back on Monday, God willing, at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time. Big thanks to Gino Torretta for joining the show today. Big thanks to Stuart Kovacs, Michael Samter, Rich Ackerman, each and every one of you for calling, for listening, for tweeting, for interacting on our YouTube chat, however you may consume us, across all our great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, and, of course, streaming live on YouTube. If you want to watch the Knicks game tonight, you will see me right behind the Knicks bench. Now, I'm not wearing a big red sweatshirt like last time. I'm just wearing a black T-shirt, so I may blend in a little bit more. But Cavaliers and Knicks, 7:30 p.m. Eastern from the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. Be back on Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.